remember the name, remember the day. Look at the gameplay, made it mine as a name change. Ain't a game that I can't save, only win-win, that's a landscape. I cannot be stopped, I'm like a savage. Shooting for your spot, I gotta have it. Hey, glory in my veins, I'm like an addict. See me Hall of Fame, I'm not your average. I'm on your neck, hey, give me respect. Hey, hey, I'm on your neck, give me respect. Hey, hey, I'm on your neck, hey, give me respect. Hey, hey, I'm on your neck, give me respect. Hey, hey, hey.
Start it over now. Better start it over now. Start it over now. Better start it over now. Start it over now. Better start it over now. All eyes on the clock.
I think the most important thing is kind of like the discipline in the beginning. I think sometimes, you know, like you gotta go through like lots of losses, and that doesn't necessarily directly mean that you failed.
I would say a lot of the inspiration I have to, let's say, like practice more, do better, like the expectations I put on myself is kind of a result of wanting to see my teammates do well.
Porque está cerca de toda la cuadra de Estral. ¡Catral! Es el primero en morir. Del otro lado sale con solitario. Asesinato doble para Ghost. Que quiere más, que quiere más, que quiere uno más. Lo agarra el mal parado al jungla.
Principalmente son muy buenos, o sea, lo que es Sumi, Cody y Ghost, siento que pues sí tienen con qué poder ganar pues o competir a un mejor nivel de lo que lo demostraron tipo en nuestra liga.
In my experience, SDM definitely deserved the first seed of LRN. I don't think it was a fluke. I think they're pretty good. What I noticed is they're just a pretty solid team. Like, it doesn't seem like they need to do anything special to win games.
Some of this fighting going their way. They finally found the target. The snake is it, but Ghost comes in too. They don't have the damage. The Buster
They got him.
finally helps get the kill, but it's a triple kill for Ghost. They make it a Welcome back, one and all, to the LTA North 2026 promotion tournament. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Cubby, and today we book our final finalist to go face off against DSG for that spot in the LCS in 2026.
I'm excited, man. We've had some surprises for sure. I think LG's strength, didn't think DSG would make it into the finals early, especially with a 3-0. Thought that'd be a much closer series than even yesterday. Estral, in spite of having a sub who was role swapped to play top lane, Shintal and Estral stepped up, 3-0'd the Tigres, who 3-0'd them in their own final for the local one, as Estral got revenge in the last say in the end, and now have a chance to go up against Luminosity Gaming. Two orgs, two teams that were built to promote. Winner today gets the chance to do so against Disguised on the 12th.
Honestly, yesterday felt like a championship for them, and I could not wait to see what kind of momentum they bring into today as we take a look at the bracket here. It is in that lower bracket final where we find ourselves, but just yesterday, Estral taking that win, 3-0 over SDM. Crazy to see a 3-0. Also was a little bit crazy to see Disguised 3-0 Luminosity Gaming, but both teams coming into this one with a little bit of different track record now.
No, I thought Luminosity Gaming actually played well in spite of getting 3-0'd. I thought that was a much closer series than what a 3-0 represents, but Disguise played much better in the later sequences in the game. I think 25 minutes plus. Disguise, A, they drafted for that part of the game. B, they played well around that section of the game too. So I definitely deserve a lot of credit. We'll see if Luminosity Gaming can clean that part of the game up, because for me, Estral Esports has looked like a much stronger team in the first 20 minutes of the game than later on. Feel like they can be beatable later on. We have seen their ability to group not quite as good against other teams in this tournament when it comes to setting up those objectives. So curious if Luminosity Gaming can show some strides made there, because I think that was also the part of the game that Disguise really beat them on in their own series.
Yeah, I think, you know, albeit there was a little bit of one-sided shenaniganery happening in some of those games, but some of them, I definitely feel like we could see a little bit of what Luminosity Gaming can bring to the table. But today is a different story, different tale. We'll see what happens in the end, as I think it's really interesting and important to harp on the fact that Estral did take that win just yesterday over SDM. I think the way that they did it, it was whole-handed. It wasn't a single person. I mean, there were some singular pop-offs, but I think we saw finally maybe the hunger again in this team. I know something we mentioned in their first couple series as well in the tournament itself, but the entire team kind of came together. Really good drafting in terms of execution of those drafts as well.
Yeah, the game 1 draft with the Vayne on your screen was quite fun. As sitting on the co-stream,
Cody popped off, man.
Yeah, me and Patch, the analyst for Blue Water, were like, "Wow, Vayne's good in the all 5 champions. Your comp's kind of weird, but it's a good pick here." And they were able to win in spite of the comp being awkward. And I think for me yesterday, Cody really stepped up in that series to find the 3-0. I think between that and Winsome having quite the gap against Ichiwin, and then Shintal just doing his job. Shintal was down in lanes, but Johnny wasn't able to use the leads that he was able to pick up to really force his will upon the map. And to be fair, a little bit to him, when he got on the map was already kind of on fire because of the work that Astral was doing with the rest of their team. So yeah, it was a good look yesterday for Astral. Again, in the 3-0, I felt like that was the most surprising result given the sub and some of the chaos that we've had in this tournament, just with Shintal stepping in. I thought if it was going to be a 3-0, it'd probably be the Tigres doing what they did in finals, but was not the case. And Shintal's Gragas, again, might have been down in lane, but hella useful in the fights, man. I definitely think that's a pick that if I'm Luminosity Gaming, I'm looking out for today.
Yeah, I think it's also just the camaraderie, a lot of the communication that we're now seeing from Astral in terms of some of the moments that came back to bite them, or some moments that they felt like they came together, especially, you know, hearing the perspective of Shintal. I got to give a special shout out to Solid Snake. I think to be able to dictate the tempo against a team like SDM, but also more importantly with some of the drafts they had, I think took a fine wire walking. And for a guy that, you know, was coaching and coming in for Astral to try to be that centerpiece of the connective tissue, I think it was really important for him to have a good series yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun yesterday. I just really thought that was not going to be the expected result at all. And I mean, to see Shintal again, this is someone where you're backing up Cody mid, one of the more successful players you've ever had from the region. You have to step in to play top lane for Summit in an auto-filled scenario. And look, was he the best player on the Rift yesterday? No. Was he a top 5 player on the Rift yesterday?
Did he play
No.
Malphite? Yes.
But hey, I mean, did he do his job and help his team win the series? Absolutely. And he had fun doing it too, which I think he's made a fan out of me, the broadcast, and a lot of fans overall, just kind of rooting for this guy who, again, I mean, that's like a dream. You're competing. You're 2 best of 5s away now for qualifying from an LCS spot as a streamer who was playing mid lane. Now you got to play top for your team in an emergency. It's kind of a fun story to follow. And yeah, it wasn't an impressive laning phase at all for Shintal, but he was with his team, something that, to be fair, Astral really struggled with when it came to grouping together and playing around those objectives. I mean, Shintal was just made sure that he was there on time. Sometimes that's okay, especially when you have players like Snake, like Cody, like Ghost, who have proven themselves on international stage that they can win games. So props to Shintal. Again, I think his task today against Fake God is 10 times harder than what we saw yesterday with him going up against Young.
I hate you, Cubby. I hate you so much. Anyways, we're going to talk about Luminosity Gaming, where Shintal has found his Drago. He did post about the Rocky meme, and I think Fake God's definitely going to be a taller task today. I don't know if Rocky's going to turn out the same, but we'll see nonetheless. I think this LG team is looking for a little bit of a comeback in the lower bracket.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great thread to follow through, because if he takes down Fake God / Drago, then it's like the plot of the movie again. He's supposed to be unstoppable.
It all works out. It's all.
You
it's
just
all
call him a
line.
Fake God and not a real God up there. But no, I do think this Luminosity Gaming squad, again, these guys were built to promote. And this is a team, we've lovingly called them the LTA rejects, given the core of this squad has won the last 4 splits of NACL they've competed in, with the others being perennially good performers when we see them in Tier 2. And frankly, players that have proven themselves in Tier 1, too. I know a lot of fans were clamoring as to why Insanity was not in the LTA North this year.
Agreed.
He's proven himself and his medal in NACL all year. And again, 1 best of 5 away now for Luminosity Gaming. They're doing what they really set out to do at the start of the year, and that is getting the spot for themselves.
It's crazy when you look at the duality, or at least the same start for both these teams. I mean, both these teams kind of came together for this moment. A little bit more in that second split for Astral, obviously, but for Luminosity Gaming, this has been the goal the entire year. And as we take a look at somebody who does have a lot of impact, especially earlier on into the year, but still finds a way to find big clutch plays in the 2v2s in the bot lane, it is tactical, obviously paired alongside Zazel there, but he himself has been looking for that comeback.
Yeah, I know Tactical was someone that you felt really strongly about, especially in Split 1, Mazel, which was Spring, right? That he was playing really well.
Yeah.
I think that Tactical, again, in this tournament, it's quite competitive in his role. I mean, he's going up against Ghost and Rahel. Rahel is the player that I've called, who I think is the best player of the tournament. I think Rahel's been playing like that so far. And frankly, I mean, this kind of has to be a warm-up game for LG and Tactical to get ready for what they need to do on the 12th, which is take down Disguised on Sunday. And for me, Rahel was a very strong performer for Disguised in that series, and probably the biggest role differential was Rahel versus Tactical in that series. And that's really something that we haven't said for all of NACL, because Tactical has never really been outshined, even in games where he might have had an AD outperform him. Tactical was playing very well throughout the year. So we'll see if he can step up today against Ghost, who did step up big yesterday for Astral in their win over the Tigres.
Yeah, I wonder, I want to ask him, did he ever expect to be able to say he's going up against a world champion in Tier 2? I can't wait to see that matchup, though. Itself, that means that we have to talk about the other team here. The maybe a bit underdogs going into this one, but a team that has absolute momentum going for them. It's Astral Esports, and it's something of a statement to say how dominant that series was yesterday. I know we've talked about it, but it's little moments like that that make a season entirely worth it, right? This team was not able to claim a championship. They lost 2 times in a row to SDM, and the Cinderella story of coming back to beat them in the time that matters most to all of these teams when you're fighting for that Tier 1 spot. I think it's an incredible story.
And 3-0'd them. And there's no question that the Tigres looked weaker in this tournament than what we saw them play like regionally. But that doesn't take away from what Astral did yesterday. I was counting them out. I think everyone else was counting them out. You're playing with a master tier mid laner, auto-filling to top lane, and you end up 3-0ing the team that 3-0'd you in finals when you had an LCS MVP playing instead of your master tier mid laner playing top lane. That's a crazy story. And for Astral, we'll see if it can continue today. Again, I think their task going up against Luminosity Gaming. This is a team of professionals that they're going to have to take down. And there is a lot of pedigree on Astral to try and do this. I mean, they're taking 2 of the best local players that they had in the region and pairing them up with Winsome, someone that has been very competitive at Tier 1 and Tier 2 the last couple of years, and Ghost, the former world champion himself.
Yeah, I think in all actuality, both of these teams were built for this in different ways and obviously at different times. That's why I was mentioning earlier, like, you hear from the owner for this team, like it was literally built to claim that Tier 1 spot. You don't bring in some of the big heavy hitters here into Tier 2 without trying to claim a Tier 1 spot here with that as the end goal. So it's really nice to see this team kind of buck up, if you will, and especially Ghost. I know we talked about it in the clips there, but I think he's going to be extremely important against Tactical today, but he's also been having better performances. I think the first couple series we saw from him, maybe not the shiniest, but definitely a little bit more shiny from yesterday.
Yeah, look, I think Ghost, again, so far this tournament, I think that when he's been able to play dive or play burst with his team, I think the Corki and the Kaisa, it's been a bit of a different look and a better look for Astral. I think sometimes it's just easier for teams where you're struggling with desync or trying to, figure out multiple languages being spoken behind the scenes for Astral. Having those simple plans, like, okay, we're going in, or hey, you're playing Ezreal, you're on your own, right? That can definitely be a solution. I mean, I was just talking LPL with Jat as we recorded JLXP before this, and we were talking about Elk and how BLG was a better team when Elk was able to play Xayah and Ezreal because he was able to be left to his own devices and kind of handle himself. I think that, in a way, Ghost with the Kaisa and the Corki, he's left to his own devices to follow up on what the team has already been doing, and that has provided a better look for Astral than what we've seen from some of the other games that we've had from them in this tournament.
Very true, but let's go ahead and talk about the top lane. Let's talk about Rocky 1, as we might have, all 5 Rockies here today, Rocky 1 through 5. But it is definitely a little bit of a different matchup here. Obviously, coming off the last series, Fake God stats maybe not looking all too great, but still should be, and I put the extreme quotes on should be, a Fake God favored matchup.
I mean, my favorite one so far is looking at the goal diff at 14. There are 5 teams in this tournament. We've had 6 top laners play in this tournament. Ancient Tall finds himself at 6. Again, he is a master tier mid laner, playing top lane. He's been playing some of his mid lane champions up there. Obviously, as a sub, I do think, like, from watching some of the tape, Shintal was definitely a little bit more cautious, or taking extra caution. Just kind of, I think he has the approach of, hey, I'm going to make sure that I'm not the one that messes this up for everyone else, right? And in that sense, he has very much been doing his job. But you can see the gold diff and the damage, it's not exactly there. The KP is quite low. He just kind of did his thing yesterday. But the KDA was first. He was contributing, man. He was able to actually help the team win the game. So props to him.
Top
Again,
lane matters,
it's been very fun.
Top lane matters.
No, it
All
doesn't.
right,
I tweeted out yesterday that if I'm a Strawl and the
That's
Organizer, I'm
the
never
joke,
thinking
Cubby.
top
That's
lane
the
matters
joke.
again, you know?
Fake
We'll
God
see if
needs
Fake
to
God...
make a statement today.
Yeah, we'll see if Fake God can make sure that for top laners everywhere, he can assert that top lane does matter.
Could you imagine, though? Could you imagine the run from Shintal? Oh my gosh, it would be absolutely incredible. I think we're going to take a look at their champ pools here as of next. I think, for one thing, Shintal should be put on easier to execute, base levels top laners to help the team in a lot of ways, because that lane matchup doesn't go well for him.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see some of the disparities so far with Shintal sticking with champions that I might have played mid throughout some point of League of Legends plus Malphite, which is my personal favorite autofill top lane champion if I see an AD heavy comp. And the Silas that was picked into it mid, well, the two Malphite ults that were used by Silas were used to escape, so a lot of that value was lost, and Malphite did some work in that game. I mean, it doesn't matter how much you're down as Malphite. If you get your RE off in a fight, you're going to be effective, and that's what Shintal did. Yeah, so far, I mean, again, Fake God, I think that's one of the more standard snapshots I can see of top laners played in a tournament. I do not expect to see those champs from Shintal. I mean, I think the most standard top lane champion we could see from him, maybe he played Ornn or Cassante mid at some point, as those champions did make their way mid in the last couple of years, or, maybe we're going to get the real baseline top lane picks grabbed if we do end up going 5.
I gotta ask you then, is Fake God staying? I'm gonna keep it stock standard, because this guy Fake God has been known to cook, right? Not only for LG, but in previous years throughout his experience. He talks about it all the time when we get him in interviews. He loves going with niche picks. I know Warwick is a personal favorite of his. Do we feel like he's just gonna present a stock standard top lane and see what Shintal has today?
I think so. If I'm Fake God, I don't think you have too much reason, really, to mix it up coming in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, so far for him, I know, we've seen him cook some stuff up in the past, but it's been a very standard champion pool for him this summer. There is nothing that's out of line. So I think it's just going to continue. I mean, if I'm LG, why would you switch things up at this point, especially if you're playing against a weaker player than what it would be like to go up against Summit? So they lost, but they lost to Disguise, not to a Straw. It's not like a rematch or anything.
A little bit different
Yeah.
for sure. We'll see what they bring to the table here, though. It should be a fun one. It's the last gasp effort for both these teams. Obviously, only one of these teams can step forward to face off against DSG, who look titanic at this point and very near to claiming back their slot in 2026. But I just want to talk about that a little bit before we get going a little bit further, because this is something we haven't had in years. Feels like forever. Promo relegation, the stakes, everything that is implied, all the things that all these teams have been building up to this entire year. I mean, this is a goal that the teams have seen from the beginning of 2025, and I think it's really important to highlight the fact that only one series separates a continuation of that story or the finality of it.
And I mean, obviously, we've really hit the head on Luminosity Gaming competing to earn their spot. It feels like all 5 of these players have proven themselves at one point or another in their career in Tier 1. And if they haven't, I mean, Fake God's probably the most criticized player in Tier 1 out of the group, and he's won the last 4 splits of NACL that he's competed in. So it's pretty hard to argue against that, right? Especially in our seat. But I think that we haven't maybe hit on as much on this broadcast what it would mean for Estral to win an LCS spot. Keep in mind that region, it was demoted to Tier 2 with the changes that were made globally to the Americas, with the changes made for next year. It's not like that's coming back as the Tier 1 regions. So I think a lot of the fans of LATAM at some point, their hopes are kind of resting on Estral to be like, hey, maybe we can get another spot in the LCS. And if we're one of the 8 teams, I mean, 3 are going to go to Worlds next year. That's a really huge nugget to be fighting for. And I think Astral are fighting for something greater than just themselves. They're representing what's left of that LATAM region in this tournament. And we'll see if, players that are iconic in that region, like Snake and Cody, who I thought really stepped up yesterday, can do so again today.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress riding on them for sure, but the hopes of a region for both sides, honestly. But yeah, the story for Astral writes itself. I mean, it's such a Cinderella setup for them. As we take a look at the predictions, it's a little bit one-sided, maybe some bias here for us, but a little bit 3-0 action we have for LG.
I'm biased against mid laners role swap the top lane. That's actually my bias.
And winning.
As I think that
you said it yourself, top lane doesn't matter. So, hey.
I said if I'm Astral's Orioner, I would never think the top lane matters again in this region. But I think Fake God's got some different thoughts coming in today.
Quote out of context, man. You got to be careful about those things.
I mean, any good Discord should have a quotes out of context channel.
Yes,
that's all I'm
absolutely.
saying. And any good real Discord of friend groups, that can be a very powerful channel to have. Get some fun screenshots in there.
So we talked a little bit about Ghost and Tactical, that matchup, which I think will be extremely important, but maybe a little bit more team fight centered there. We talked about the top lane just because of the on paper mismatch that we see there. But I think this mid lane has a lot in store for it. I know you talked about Cody a little bit earlier, but I really think that Insanity is going to need to bring up another level here against Cody, because Cody has been on fire as of late, and he's been willing to go with the veins, things like that. I know Insanity also has a little bit of a cooking pot himself.
Let's play the ball.
I do wonder what we're going to get from Insanity today, because I think this mid matchup is going to have a lot in store.
Well, let's dive into our first pick ban. As I did say going in, both mid laners have played LeBlanc, as that champion did get buffed. We are on, you can see, patch 2519. Of course, 20 is now live on the servers at home, so you can play the Worlds patch yourself. And 20 versus 19, actually not a ton of changes. So this is a pretty close patch to what we're going to be seeing played internationally here in just 4 days, as, of course, that tournament kicks off with T1 versus IG. But we got to stick to this tournament first, Bizel, and Wukong and Jarvan. I think two of the best junglers on this patch. They're both up, and it's going to be Tomio locking in that Wukong.
Just saying, Tactical and Fake God, they're in the same room together. He's already got his bags packed for Mexico, man. He's ready to go.
That's probably a quick trip out, honestly. Yeah.
LG is going to be going with a little bit more of a proactive jungler here. Now Estral is going to grab the Orianna. Can go for the 1-2 punch of the Nocturne here if they want to, or any other combos that we see with the Orianna. Yeah,
so when we have seen the Wukong plus the Jarvan up, so far we've seen a lot of Orianna be locked in early on, and then you give the Wukong Jarvan, you just take seconds there, right? Because you get the Ori combo. So kind of curious to see Tomio actually snag the Wukong for himself, as understanding that Jarvan or the Nocturne is going to be up and uncontested on 3. They're going to take a priority pick in the Nico, a bit of a deny from Zazel too, who does play this pick very well. I'm curious now if we actually get something like an Ezreal Karma maybe locked in early on just to combat against the Nico, and definitely a combo that Tactical and Zazel play very well.
And I do appreciate that, but I think I would have liked the mid-jungle combo a little bit earlier. See if they still get it for free here, obviously, as they will probably be going for that J4. But the Kai'Sa is locked in for Tactical, an extreme pressure point for LG.
Probably Rel next if they want to go with support. If not, Zazel could drop it, as they will drop it, and it's going to be a Galio pickup for Insanity. So a lot of speed locked in here for Luminosity Gaming. That Wukong Galio combo,
it's
going to be
so
very
disgusting.
real with Kai'Sa over the top. We did talk about how Ghost has really been going for the Kaisas, the Corkis in this tournament to try and follow up his team with a dive. Curious if he snags the Corki here, looking somewhat appetizing with the Galio already showing, but gonna lock in that priority jungler instead that we talked about earlier, Mazel. Jarvan locked in. They have the Cataclysm Shockwave combo against, so far, a pretty mobile Luminosity Gaming, as Wukong, Kai'Sa have a defense to get out of the Cataclysm, and Galio just, well, he builds defense himself, right? So he should be tanky enough to deal with that. So do like the defense that Luminosity Gaming is showing early on against the Wombo combo that Astral are showing themselves.
I'm going to go to the LPL bias a little bit. I'm just saying, Xiaohu did 10,000 damage last night in a team fight on Galio. So we'll see if Insanity's got a little bit of power in him as well.
He is strong.
We'll see that combo very quickly, I'm sure, on the map. But now we're getting into the bot lane bans of Phase 2 as we get the Rakan ban as well as the Xayah ban.
Sadly, Weibo not able to win last night for the LPL.
Oh, God, yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
It's an LCK world, baby.
I fear that my tweet has aged so well that international tournament that I wasn't even aware of when I made it might still be true that the LCK wins. I only said best of 5s, though, for that one, as a couple best of 3s were dropped. But the overall region record, if you're an LPL fan, doesn't look too promising for Worlds. But turning this game, Jax buffed up on this patch, going to be banned away from Fake God. Curious if that maybe shows what Shintal's going for. Yeah, Malphite. Hey, Shintal's chuckling about it.
LG,
He's
come
like,
on, man. You're tied. Look at the smile on his face, bro. You're tying his hand behind his back. Come on.
I think it's
He's
going to be
already a mid laner.
probably, I was going to assume a Corki lock-in. A Caitlyn lock-in, though, would be something. This champion did get 2 AD on the patch. You can play to bully a little bit.
Very
Wow.
2v2 dominant as well. We did also see this last night at ASI, but the lock-in will
makes
end up
more
being
sense.
the Yunara. I know a lot of people have been pretty down on this pick. We'll see if it does get the change in the game itself that it's needed. A lot of fighting pressure into the Kaisa as well.
Yeah, I think Yunara, this pick, it's still very high potential, but definitely you need your team to be bursty to give you room to auto-attack. And I think if you don't execute well upon that, then you are a shorter range AD that doesn't have a ton of mobility if you're not in alt form. So
It's a
Alistar gonna be
beefy
locked
comp
in.
from LG.
yeah,
Oh,
Alistar
and the
locked in,
Instanar.
and the Jax ban, Malphite taken away, Gnar going to be picked up. You can play Gragas in the Gnar. I'm bringing this up just because that's a pick that we have seen Shintal play already. It's not the best matchup on the planet, but definitely one that is playable. Unless we're going to get really weird and play another mid laner top. Let's see what Shintal wants.
I know this is also a pick for Fake God that he's fallen back on time and time again as well. I appreciate that. And the Silas is going to be locked into the Gnar matchup.
I actually like it a lot. This is a mid laner that Shintal can play. That I assume it's going to go into the Gnar. I mean, we could get a world where Cody actually plays the Silas because Cody is known for his Silas in the region. So I'm wondering if Cody is going to go top because I think the Silas versus Gnar matchup makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, looks like they're going to give Cody his Silas. I do think getting him out of this Galio matchup, like, it used to be one that Silas can win. Not really anymore. Galio just kind of neutralizes you. But you got some good ults to grab if you're Silas this game between the Mega Gnar, the Alistar, and even the Galio ult. So I think Cody's a pretty happy camper, as I'm pretty confident that he'll take this one top and get his hands on a comfort pick, while Shintal gets a pick that he can definitely play mid.
And it's something to state, obviously, that, you know, Cody, this split has had some fluctuations. He actually before this tournament hadn't played Silas, but like career-wise, he definitely is comfortable on the champion itself. But being able to have that flexibility when your roster is a little bit in flux is extremely powerful for Estral.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that flex. I know that Estral, I mean, you got to get a little bit creative when you're playing with Shintal, because we talked about the disadvantages of not knowing how to lane top as well, or having that different pool, but I really feel like this flex pick is a bit of an advantage. I mean, this is a matchup that I believe Keen and Zeus were playing a little bit for the LCK much earlier on in the year. It's very playable, as I pretty much expect to see Cody go top, and we'll see what they can do into the Gnar and what Shintal can do on this Orianna himself.
I want to see Cody mid. It's not going to happen, though. Anyways, we'll see exactly how this early game's going to pan out. Because when we look at both comps, I mean, both junglers love to be proactive in this setup. And they love to utilize some of the solo lane strengths here. And Tomio is going to get spotted out early here. Flushed out, at least, by Solid Snake. See if they want to play with any early vision as well.
Also think that, at least with Shintal top, what we saw was a real dedication for Estral playing for their bot side, which makes some sense, you know, when you do have that auto-filled top laner. As
You can't back either.
Yeah, at least I think your hopes, Mazel,
Yay!
of that Silas being mid and getting Cody versus Insanity is going to come true, as Shintal,
I mean,
we'll see if he can handle Orianna top.
we have seen answers into the Gnar be kind of range-based matchups. I know the Rise had risen into priority way back when, but we'll see if that actually pays out for him. I think you're asking for a little bit of hurt if you do get behind.
And
Nar's
one item is so strong into you as Orianna, especially if you're going to go for the scaling build.
You just can't overextend either, because he will
Yeah.
absolutely just take you down. So you
Yeah.
just have to be very careful.
We'll see if Shintal goes for the Roa plus the Seraphs or it goes for something else in there. But at the moment, going to be him taking this Orianna top. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen top Orianna since probably Xiaohu was playing it, you know, when he made the swap. Something that you probably remember a little bit better than me, Mazel. But
Good times.
yeah, kind of curious. It's not the
talk
Silas.
tonight, you know?
Yeah.
He's fresh in our minds. But we are taking a look at that bot side. Both junglers going to be pathing out towards bot side. Actually, Solid Snake will be spotted out on a potential early gank in the mid lane by that ward that LG had placed earlier on. But it's very obvious that both teams want to get something going, the engine revving, if you will, on the bot side.
Both junglers making their way down there with Tomio being a little bit ahead on the clear now that he can take a pit stop mid. As Shintal. All right, Shintal.
Okay. I see you. The early
canceled
levels
2
definitely
autos.
where the range helps for sure. It's
Out of
going to
mana.
be fully out of mana now, though.
Yeah, I don't think that that's enough to take Gnar out. Because Gnar, I mean, you can play around with your health pool a little bit as Gnar. Of course, whenever you go Mega, you get the health back.
Fudging the
That
numbers.
health with you. Yeah. So.
All right, Cody going to go in all in from Insanity. Gets down to about 100 health from Cody. We'll have that Kingslayer coming back up, going for the trade himself. Gets a little bit healthier and there as well. Going to get the level up, a little pressure in mid lane, but we do see junglers heading towards this mid lane. At least Tomio going to take the overextended Cody just like a gift basket as Insanity gets the taunt first blood to Tomio.
Really well played by Insanity. Flashed behind the creep so that Upscond, Abduct could not connect, and then giving the kill over to Wukong. Getting that Wukong accelerated to Trinity Force is always a big win if you're playing the Wukong game. So Tomio already in good shape. As Cody overreaching a bit mid, and Insanity gets the best of him with the help of his jungler.
It's going to feel really good for the mid combo as we do see a 2v2 kicking off in the bot lane. No help from either jungler, but Tactical feeling very confident here. Gets the final plasma stack, and Ghost is about under 300. He's going to have to pop some biscuits. Their push is going to continue, though. They have had a constant priority in the bot side for Estral.
Might change here, though. They don't really have the health, and Winsome doesn't have enough mana to sustain this. He'll coming back up soon, but Zazel also going to get access back to his, and that Alistar pass has been working a little bit of overtime down there. As Tactical going to have a very good first base, and frankly, I mean, this could be a timer where if they get this one in and base, Tomio could look for that first dragon here in a minute as he's clearing out his topside camps, already has a phage, and will make his way down to this point of the map by the time the Tactical and Zazel find the reset. So curious if we have Luminosity Gaming looking at that early dragon. So let's take another look at this one. Watch the flash from Insanity. Gets behind the minion wave. So even as long as you react in time, there's no chance the Silas can take you down from there. Very well played by Insanity as he's going to have to get out of this one.
Yeah, he does get the taunt in the end by a little bit of time there, but they're not going to have any prio in mid lane. And Cody, he's under turret, and unfortunately, he will end up falling. Just wanted the statement play, the 1-for-1. Now we're kicking into the jungle, as Solid Snake had tried to steal away some Raptors. I do believe it's going to be LG that secure that one.
Yeah, I mean, potential to break the dragon timer there, as Ghost, again, Ghost has to reset to match the reset from Tactical, so this would be the wave where you would look at it. By Luminosity Gaming, but Cody going 1-for-1, I don't think that's super worth for him, honestly. As that wave, he'll get a little bit of win off the wave, but it was a flash burn for just a 1-for-1 kill is not exactly ideal. I think the only win they had is that it might have broken the dragon timer that Luminosity Gaming could have been looking at, given the bot lane resets being different and theirs resetting first.
So we've talked a little bit about the individual pieces of these compositions, but we are going to start getting to these objectives. We already have the dragon up on the table. About 2 minutes for the grubs as well. Do you think that there are some really good answers to each other's comps in these fights? I mean, obviously you have the tried and true Silas stealing away the Unbreakable Will once ultimates come up as well, but it's very important that both of these fights are extremely team-centric. As speaking of, Estral going to try to get a play on Insanity. We'll see Tomio around the corner here. Both mids are level 6. Cody stole the Cyclone, gets the shield break there too. And Cody will get the kill back too. That is going to be huge.
Disrespectful this time around from Insanity. I mean, I thought the first death was, or at least, set up well. And he got the trade, but that time around, him and Tomio just get beat by Cody, who's stronger right now, given the build, has those lucidity boots, and able to rotate out those CDs well enough to make sure the Galio goes down. Utilizing that in the Conqueror to stay engaged is Cody. I mean, a Silas pick that, again, you said correctly so, Mazel. He hasn't played yet this split. Oh, and I know historically that he's been known for going international. He's playing this one really well in this game.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. I think it's
He's got
so
big
awesome.
tools. Yeah.
It's so awesome for this Estral team that, yes, you have some incredible names in the bot lane, but it's really been Solid Snake and Cody that have caught my eye as two of the kind of homegrown talent pieces for this roster that have really shown out in the last couple series.
Yeah, I thought they were a big reason behind the win yesterday as Cody really leveled up his own play. And Snake's been having an overall decent tournament so far. I thought he was good even in the loss against Disguise, right? Finding some of the early leads for Istral and himself. So, but yeah, I mean, kind of throws a wrench in things early on. That said, we do have a grub fight coming up. Kills on the mid and jungle for both teams. And Wukong always very strong around this fight with that Cyclone.
Who do you like better at level 6?
I'm going to like LG's team mostly because of the Gnar versus the Orianna. And Fake God has definitely been up in this lane as we haven't panned here in a while. As do want to give kudos though to Shintal. Takes the long way around to connect with his team. His team has started up the grubs while he was rotating over, and yeah, might be giving up a wave and some CS, but his team's about to snag 2 grubs here. That's a huge win.
Okay, he's going to smite. I was going to see if he was going to hold it or not. Solid Snake gets locked up. No way you go into that fight, Ghost. You just put yourself into the blender, but he flashes right back out. He found the damage he needed. Now Cody goes in by himself. He's in a little bit of trouble here by himself, too. Cody had the Mega Gnar ult, but won't end up using it. That was a bold fight from Estral. They lose 2 because of it. They do get the 2 grubs at least.
I think you called it right, Mazel. Ghost played that one too quickly, and then we did see some of the strength of Luminosity Gaming's comp there, as Fake God did work in that fight. Shintal was over the wall, and yeah, he used the Shockwave, but was not nearly as impactful as the Mega Gnar. It was able to be in the mix of that. Do think that Luminosity Gaming, again, on that timer, they were the stronger team. I thought Istral getting the 2 grubs and getting out would have been a big win, but LG taking the 2 kills, I mean, that's given them now a 2k gold lead. As we get a second look, and yeah, I mean, Ghost going in was definitely an oopsie. And I think that Shintal did his best around the wall. I mean, Cody gets stuck here. He really had no way out once he goes back in. But I mean, if you just lose the Jarvan, you take the 2 grubs, I mean, that's not the end of the world by any means for a Straw.
The craziest part is Solid Snake definitely had an exit there. But he just held just a little bit longer in the pit than maybe he needed to. But now we get to see the momentum, the pressure from Estral as they've started up 2 back-to-back objectives now. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a response from LG for this one.
I mean, a lot of those alt timers are long cooldowns. Take a look at the Wukong. Take a look at the Galio. If those alts are not available and Snake still had the Cataclysm, Ghost was still able to go transcend. I think that's a good drop by Luminosity Gaming, as they're just going to fix their lanes and wait for their timers and cooldowns to come back. And meanwhile, Fake God is really starting to build up a lead in the top side. He was granted those 2 kills in the fight. But before that, I think Shintal was down about 15 to 20 CS. That's starting to expand a little bit more. As you can see, Shintal, he's pretty scared up there.
Just keep that in the corner of your mind. You know, Estral, you just shove it to the corner. It's something you deal with later. That's a problem for future Estral.
As long as my top laner can team fight, fight on time, right? That's all that matters.
It's not gonna matter that there's a 2,000 gold lead Gnar with almost his first item completed here. I do expect those top lane objectives to be a little less priority now for Estral, but they do have the dragons going for them, obviously, if they do want to continue stacking that up for themselves. So we get to a point where we're hitting those first items coming through. We already get the Kraken Slayer from Ghost as well. We get Solid Snake with the Sundered Sky. That is going to enable him. But on the other side, Tomio has completed the Trinity Force, and that's going to be huge.
Yeah, if I'm Tomio, I'm hitting tab, and I want to go fight. I see Insanity with first item. He's got a Trinity Force in tow. It's time to get out and get active on the map as Wukong.
And that combo you can always be followed up on as Tomio with Insanity right behind you. See how quickly and often they want to get that involved, because I think it's extremely important for them, as Cody's going to look for an engage with Solid Snake behind him. Insanity just dodging out of everything. My God, that chicken's got legs.
Good steps or good clicks from him. Still had to
Good
lose the
clucks.
flash, but we'll take those good clips, or good clicks. It
Yeah, I
would have
love that.
almost created a good clip, you know.
He's a chicken. He has to, you know, serve up the fried. I don't know. I'm gonna stop with that one. Anyways, it is gonna be a little bit of bot lane pressure for LG. They are gonna reassign some lanes, bringing Zazel around the map. But that's something I really want to talk about for LG, where they do find themselves almost 3,000 gold in the lead at 12 minutes in. The combination of Tomio and Zazel has been a breath of fresh air again. As we've seen these guys paired up time and time again, but these guys roaming around the map are one of the most lethal duos in NACL history.
Yeah, I think that Tomio getting paired up with Zazel was really good for his growth as a player. As Tomio always had, you know, mechanics and always had the respect of some of the junglers in the Pro League. As see Fake God get a very positive trade down. Shintal doesn't have ult to clear the waves, so going to lose a plate to Fake God and the Gnar. But yeah, I do think that Zazel was kind of that good calming voice and presence for Tomio to take advantage of the hands that he can bring to a fight. As Zazel kind of handles the brains of the operation. As at the moment, Zazel's going to have to get his way on out of here. Cataclysm come down.
They're going to get Zazel in anyways.
Hold
Heroic
on.
Entrance going to come in. They're going to pull the trigger here as it's going to be a 4-man with the clone taunt from Insanity. The Mega Gnar from Cody does lock him down.
They got
Ghost ends
Ghost.
up dying to Tactical. And now you have the re-addition of LG as a 4 squad coming into the top side. And Cody, he's getting flanked by an ADC. You love to see it from Tactical and Fake God coming in.
Tactical's not even going to chase the kill. He's just going to go take the wave as Cody going to be left to the Mega Gnar and the Wukong. Tomio's going to get the kill. More gold for the Wukong and a good fight from Luminosity Gaming as, you know, we saw the stall going on between Zazel and Insanity with the ulted up Alistar and the Galio, but we didn't catch Ghost going down in transition as Tactical was able to find the killer instinct onto the Yunara and take it out before that fight really broke out. I think any hope for Astral winning that fight goes wayside once Ghost falls early on in that skirmish. So good find by Tactical there at Luminosity Gaming to make sure they remove the AD that is so important in this game, this comp, especially given your top laner is frankly a master tier mid laner playing autofill, right? A lot of importance being put on Ghost in these drafts and in these games, and that's a great pick from Tactical to find him in transition and make sure that his team can win that fight really before it was able to break out.
And I hope we get to get a replay of that one, because that's one thing I've really been very, very happy with for Tactical all year long is his killer instinct, pun intended. He always finds those little micro angles against the ADCs that he counters, and trying to find those angles on the Kai'Sa is extremely important. And when you can, like Ghost, all he can do is kind of pop everything and try to fight you, because both of these ADs just want to go all in. And I think that's a really big pick from LG, though Estral going to start up another dragon here. I think they're a little hesitant to do so, though. They thought somebody was coming.
I think it's to be Drake for Herald trade.
Yep.
I think they were tickling it, and then they saw LG commit to the top side, and now they're going to take it down. So, I mean, a trade for Astral is kind of what they need right now. Down 4.5k gold. You got Orianna working on double scaling items. That row is not complete yet, as Shintal is pretty far behind. So things a little bit grim here for Astral, but avoiding a fight when you're down 4k gold to pick up a second dragon of the game, gonna be the best I can ask for, as they at least do secure that factor of feats. So first brick will dictate who picks up feats for the game. Curious, with at least 2 grubs to 1, you'd think Astral has pushing power, but I think this means the Rift gets dropped immediately, as Luminosity Gaming gonna work to guarantee themselves first brick.
It's going to be an engage on a Cody here. He's in some trouble and gets
well
the
played.
5th plasma stack from Tactical, and that's a delivery that he's not going to be very happy with. Solid Snake's going to try to run away. The Rift Herald's going to be popped in top lane, and this avalanche that LG have developed is just continuing to steamroll Estral.
I know a lot of the time Tactical sometimes gets picked on for not having or playing too far up, playing too aggressive as Fake God.
With the solo bolo over Shintal. Meanwhile, you got the knock up in mid lane. My God, Tomio can do it all. Ghost is gone. Estral are lacking anything in this game at this point. 7,000 gold in the deficit. The winds of war will signal the change of the winds for LG as they continue to balloon this with an mid lane turret as well.
I think Tomio meant to use the Herald to hit the turret, but it ended up looking pretty damn cool in the end. Is Cody going to go for the flip? Tactical, no Thorns to follow up with a Killer Instinct.
The Killer Instinct,
Nice.
and that's a little bit of an ADC diff right there. Cody using his powers against him as the shutdown goes over, but now it's going to be a quick kill going back over to Tomio.
I mean, you'll take the shutdown there in the 1-for-1 as Cody, as Tactical does go down to the end. Did have a very nice fight, used a very small Kaisa mechanic in the top side. That R does reset your auto attack. So went auto R auto to clean up the kill up there. Very well played by Tactical. As, yeah, we're going to see that Herald goes a little bit wayside, but the knockup,
was meant to happen.
I mean, it sure as hell looked like it. I don't think you can convince me that was what was meant to happen, but it sure did. This Killer Instinct grabbed, and good positioning here by Cody.
Really good play from Cody.
To make sure that, he was able to get a pretty creative abscond abduct, just getting on top of the Kaisa like that. Well played.
Winsome with a couple of the follow-throughs as well. Yes, he does go down, and giving over a 5th kill over to Tomio does not feel great, as he's already on 2 items now. And I think this top lane jungle duo might just be the saving grace of LG.
And again, I hope that Fake God can drive home the leads that he's going to get a little bit more than what Yanni was able to do yesterday. As Fake God, definitely a top laner that I know if you're a tier 1 fan versus a tier 2 fan, I can usually tell based on your opinion of Fake God. Because Fake God in tier 2 has been the guy to beat. I mean, he took down Surdy in a final. He was taking down TF Blade, who had a very good competitive year this year in the final for Conviction. And I think that he's seen a lot of challengers kind of head his way, and Fake God still feels like, I think some peaks that we've had from top laners have been better. But Fake God has been the top laner to beat the entire time. And no one has really been able to do it as long as he's in the league. So, yeah, I know I'm very familiar, or not very familiar, but roughly familiar with Yanni from his time playing Champs Queue, as was one of the players that really did grind it out of LATAM, which I really respect. But from my time there, I definitely have a much higher opinion of Fake God. Even though we didn't see that head-to-head. And yeah, I hope that Fake God, again, can use the leads that he will get going up against the sub for Astral, who is a mid laner playing top. You're going to get leads here at what we've seen from Shintal so far. Even if he's, made up for it in the team play as well as he can. This is the different beast of Luminosity Gaming, and the real difficulty I thought Astral was going to face today, and why we were both in the 3-0 LG camp.
And this is a really good return to form, it feels like, for LG. A couple questionable plays in that mid lane setup for sure, but so far they've played really well, and after that heartbreaking loss against DSG, it's going to feel good to see LG back in form at least. And I gotta ask, 50 seconds for this next dragon. Astral had done a really good job of getting those early dragons for themselves, but you gotta pay the piper, and unfortunately it's 9k gold down almost, and we have 2 items completed for majority members on LG's side. Does Astral even have a fight at this objective?
I don't know. I mean, I think that Otacon, if you're going to flip any objective, you might as well flip the Otacon, the one that's going to shred the resistances of the other team. But I'm looking at where the Oriana's at, and she's still miles behind. So yeah, if I'm Luminosity Gaming, I want to fight now. I've got 2 items on everyone. Force it. And frankly, I think 2 items on everyone is too much to bear if you're Astral. So
do they just snowball this into the dragon, though?
I mean, yeah, they could. If they get the Drake on time, I mean, putting yourself on soul point is not bad. I just think the tough part is I'm
going all right.
Yeah, I mean, if I hit tab as a straw, I do not want to fight at all.
As soon as you see LG, you need to turn away. I think now that we're seeing Fake God over here with his 3,000 gold lead and his little proper gentleman's hat. I think Astral are going to walk away.
The items showing are way too much. I think you go for a steal.
Solid Snake still wants it. He's looking for a 50-50. He doesn't get the damage down. It's not. Oh my God, he got it. He stole the dragon away. It was so early. But LG fumbled the bag, and that's soul point to Astral.
Oh, all right. Easy one for Astral. As, that might have been like sending in Creed to face Drago before you send in Rocky, if you're Shintal going on.
Soften him up,
That was a one-way, I mean, spoilers for Rocky 4, but one-way trip there for Solid Snake. Going in, yoinking the dragon, that's the best case scenario if you're Astral. Again, hitting tab, seeing LG on these 2-item spikes across the board. No way you want to fight these guys. And Luminosity Gaming, they know it. They lose the dragon. But they took a member. They're going to keep the push going. They get mid-inner turret for themselves, keeping the pressure up on the bot side too. So that gold lead, it stays stable. But hey, the Otacon for Dragon trade, if you're a Straw, again, I think that's the best you could get in that scenario. Because there's just no way in hell that you want to fight LG, and if you do, there's no way it's winning. When you look at the champs they have and the item thresholds they're at. This is one of the strongest points of the game for Luminosity Gaming as a comp. It really is only the Kaisa that's going to scale astronomically still from here.
All I got to say, though, is you just have to do that one more time, Solid Snake. That's all you got. You are on sole point now as Estral. Take a look at this one.
I think they need Elder, and that's why they have to do it one more time. I don't think Infernal Soul can overcome a 9k gold deficit that we're seeing right now. But no smite from Tomio. I don't know if it hit Jarvan or if it was just late or if he was CC'd at all. He was not CC'd at all. It is going to be a pickup for Solid Snake as he gets that soul point.
He's going to want that one back.
Yeah, he will, but still, I mean, I think this game is still very Luminosity Gaming sided, so it's still going to be a challenge for Estral to win this one.
But that's what and maybe I'm being a little harsh on LG, but that's why I hold them to such high regard, is because little moments like that, you know, that can't happen if you're looking to get a tier 1 spot in the biggest moment, in the biggest tournament, in the biggest series of your year. And so we'll see if they can clean out the rest of this game. It is 9,000 cold at 23 minutes, and LG still pushing pressure into the top side, trying to get this tier 2 down as well. Oh my God, that was 1 Q with the Cloud Strike as well. It almost half of Winsome's health.
This is still 25-19 Wukong, guys, so I know that he got nerfed pretty heavily on the Worlds patch. And rightfully so, because I think Wukong is the strongest jungler on this patch alongside Jarvan. So we're seeing a lot of those handshakes.
Yeah, I chose Jarvan as my most picked champion for Worlds. Yeah.
Okay. I had him as most banned.
Either that or Corki.
I had him as most banned, actually. Or I think I have Nico as most banned, actually, and Alistar as most picked.
Nice.
I swapped. I considered Jarvan for a bit. I think Jarvan's too strong. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Jarvan at Worlds, actually. I think he's going to get banned out a lot.
I think teams are going to sleep on him. I think they'll be like, we could take a Jarvan.
He is the second strongest jungler on this patch to Wukong, and Wukong got significant work.
He's nasty.
Nerfs. And you can always play with Cataclysm and flash timers. Jarvan's always valuable. I think that he's going to be very, very strong at Worlds. So, but unfortunately for Snake, outside of the steal, hasn't been strong enough in this game today for Astral.
Yeah, and unfortunately, these downtime moments don't really work in favor of Astral. Honestly, Shintal got a little bit closer in the CS gap whenever LG were really focusing on those objectives and not focusing on pushing the lanes. But now that you reassign these individual leads to these side lanes, to these 1v1s, to these 2v2s, that feels even worse for Estral. And you see that lead continuing to build because of it.
I mean, going from, I think it's been an 8.5k gold lead to a 9.5k gold lead since the last Dragon. Again, you're so far behind in this draw, you're kind of losing access to the jungle camps, as you can see here. It's not the worst case scenario in the world. I think their big spike of getting Silas the second item in Seekers, that's doable. They would love to get Shintal, the Seraphs, because, yeah, that is the Seraphs now in the inventory completed. So he's behind, but he can still be relevant in this next fight, and yeah, I mean, look at the Dragon, or think about the Dragon if you're a Skrull. That is your way back in.
They're literally two-manning Baron right now.
For them? Oh, they are. Yep. Good eyes.
All right, but it is Estral who realized that. They're going to TP in. That's going to be Fake God, so you got to be a little bit more careful for Estral. But last time we saw Solid Snake at a 50-50, it was his way, but it's not going to be this time. Big Pop Blossom on 3 coming out. Estral try to find one. They shake down LG, but they come up with almost nothing here. Now the Pops are coming through, and LG, all they take is the lives of Estral. Not a single member of Luminosity Gaming will fall. They're going straight down to the mid lane, and they want to finish this one sweetly.
Yeah, I fear that Wukong got way too big, as Tomio with a double Cyclone absolutely shredded that fight. He pretty much took down Solid Snake and Ghost on his own. It was Tactical's Killer Instinct that got the last 300 to 400 health off the Yunara. And it will be Baron for LG. They're not going to go for the end despite the Queen sweep. They will take the Baron, and they will get that Infernal Dragon off the map to deny the soul. I think that's a smart move from LG. We'll say the Gnar, he's got time. You do a slower Drake.
Yeah.
Mega.
He's perfectly fine.
He's got enough time. Zazel could grab a Spellbook Smite if he wanted to, but I think Fake God's got this one for himself. So,
oof.
yeah, comeback mechanic for Istral denied. And now it's a Baron power play with a 15k gold lead almost. And yeah, I think that's going to spell the doom for game 1 of the Straw.
The only thing that could stand in LG's way now is LG. They get a little bit too confident here, but with this Baron up for a long while, they're going to try to use as much push in these lanes as they can get. Zeyzal was even moving over to pressure Solid Snake out of his own jungle. You do wonder that top lane is a little bit left to bear, but LG going to focus on bot side.
Just going to take a bonus wave up there as he's trying to get as much gold as possible to get to that third item. Okay, they're actually going to let him stick around for the turret. So Ghost, yeah, Tomio's going to force. Ghost can't join. It's a 4v5.
Tactical! You absolute beast! He just goes in, gets the combo straight onto Cody, and that's going to be a double kill for him. LG can do no wrong in game number 1 of this do or die best of 5, and they're going to dominate Estral all the way there. There was not a single moment where LG had faltered just in that mid lane early, but this composition has truly come online, and this is an 18,000 plus gold advantage for LG to start off the series.
All the damage in the world there from Ghost at the end, not going to fix the fact that map was on fire, and Luminosity Gaming did some great work. I mean, I think it was a couple plays from Cody that made things roughly interesting in the mid lane, but how they really ran away with that game from the first grubs, where we saw a decent fight come out from Estral into LG, and once they got that lead, the way they were able to run with it from there, whether it was Fake God individually, whether it was the engages from Tomio and Insanity that were very synced up and on point. I think Tomio had a great game, and then Tactical being that pop-off player, you know, on the Kaisa, able to have some really nice aggressive takes on the Killer Instinct in to win those fights really before they could even start for Luminosity Gaming. That's a solid win across the board.
Yeah, I think more so for me, it's just the fact that they drafted a really good composition together, a composition that has worked for them so well in their runs throughout the regular seasons as well into the playoffs of NACL. But it's that combination of being able to help Tomio at any time. Right? Having a top lane lead is awesome, but the consistency that we're seeing this trio, what I used to call the Tomio Death Squad, in Insanity and Zeyzal kind of walking around with Tomio and finding those advantages, that is something that Estral have to find an answer to, because if they don't, they're going to lose control of the map every single time.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm expecting top lane to look like that every game. You can't really put that on your sub in Shintal, who never thought he was going to be in this scenario. You got to find ways to step up as a team around that. And if Shintal is able to scale and do his job the way that we kind of saw him do yesterday, that's okay. But I think for the other members, like Ghost being 0-3-0, that shouldn't be the game plan you're going into these games with. It really should be, okay, top is going to be what it is. We got to make sure we win the rest of the map hard in order to make up for that. And then just hope that Shintal can contribute, because he is there at the right times, trying to make the right plays even from behind. But when the rest of the map is behind, that made for a hard game for Estral, and a well-played game from Luminosity Gaming.
And we'll see if they let the Malphite through next time around for Shintal. We are going to step away for a little break, and we'll be back with the breakdown of Game 1 and Game number 2. Back everyone to the LTA North 2026 promotion tournament. I'm Mazel, I'm joined by Cubby, and game number 1 went a little bit as expected, at least if you're an LG fan, coming out to a dominant 1-0 in this best of 5.
Yeah, it was really Astral getting behind early and then never really getting footing in that game. I do think that Snake and Cody tried to get the ball rolling a little bit, but unable to snowball that duo hard, as they did put the Silas mid. And yeah, really from this fight forward, it was a game that was LG favored.
It was indeed. Some of the wombo combos on full display here. This didn't show some of the fluctuations in the early game, but this is really where the Avalanche continued to fall as we see the chicken violence happening. But this is the play, I feel like, that you really saw that big takeaway in that top side where, unfortunately, Ghost, a big piece of the puzzle for Astral in this game plan, did end up faltering and was not able to find impact whatsoever.
And I mean, frankly, I think
Bro, that was all
are,
part of the plan, man.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I think that if you are Luminosity Gaming, you can just be very happy about, I guess, some of the positives of this game. I think Tomio having a good game. Again, I think that the tough part of the matchup against Disguise is that top side, as I think pretty highly of Castle, and I think XU can also somewhat match. And did beat what Fake God and Tomio were able to do in that first matchup. So, again, expect Fake God to do nothing but perform today, given his competition is not what we're used to seeing from the role. And Shintal definitely had a tough one there with that Orianna being played top. But I think for Tomio, having a game that big on the Wukong, where he did get fed early and was really able to drive that lead home, that's a real positive for LG.
Yeah. It was ended up being an 18,000 gold lead in the end, and really just from start to finish completely controlled by LG. And there were the Drakes, and I think that was something really important to highlight for Astral. Is this is a team that throughout this split, especially, it was a lot of objective focus for them. They were able to at least find something that was labeled out to be a potential comeback condition for them. Unfortunately, they did end up faltering at that 4th dragon, but it's still something to think about for Astral moving forward into the series, is that objective control and maybe some more comps that are centered around it.
Yeah, and again, I mean, when you're playing with Shintal top, I think it's just what champions are you able to play where you can gracefully lose lane and be impactful. I think that he was able to find out on the Gragas, on the Annie a little bit. I always can see the logic of Annie up there. Yeah, when it may or may not be able to bias towards the top Maokai, but hey, if you see a Jax, that is a playable matchup, especially in competitive.
All right.
I don't know how much time Shinto.
I don't know how much he spent on Maokai, you know?
Yeah, I was talking about like past metas where we saw some Ornn mid or Cassante mid, like maybe he played any of those. I don't remember that meta exactly where we saw Maokai mid. I might have been lost to time, but yeah, I mean, again, for Astral, I just think that you have to win the rest of the map hard, because this is what top lane is probably going to look like for the rest of the series. With
that goal difference at 14 looks very different, Cubby, than the one that we saw at the beginning of the series.
It does, but you know, Fake God doing some work up there, taking the Gnar into the Orianna again. That is, especially if you're going to go double scaling in the Orianna, it's a very difficult matchup to play. And Fake God, well, he played much better around it with the Gnar. So I frankly just expect this to continue for the series, and I really think it's on the rest of Astral and the members that we've always seen them field on the Rift for this year. They're going to be the ones that have to step up and really control their own fate and destiny, and just hope they can take Shintal along with them. I mean, he's going to be down. I think that if he groups for fights and tries his best to be effective, that's really the best hope they can have, right?
Yeah. Hey, Rocky lost some rounds. All right, that's all we're saying. We got to keep with the story here. There's a reason why Drago was built up to be Rocky's rival. We'll see if that ends up coming into fold. But another position we wanted to talk about had to be Tomio. Got a little bit of an advantage on the Wukong and did not look back. Yes, the composition was very well suited to follow him up with the combo of Insanity and Zazel, but I think he deserves a ton of kudos for this first game as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, Tomio was, I thought, instrumental in making sure that they found that game 1 victory. So was a good look for the top side of Luminosity Gaming specifically, as Fake God with a big lead, and then the Wukong, of course, getting that early Triforce and really imposing his will on the rest of the map were, I think, two of the bigger pluses in making sure that Luminosity Gaming did find a rather clean Game 1 victory. As we see Tomio there. And yeah, 7-0-10, rocking the big smile as always. The gold diff from the jungle wasn't quite as big as Snake picked up a kill himself, but that early Trinity Force, superior to the Sundered Sky, especially on a champion like Wukong. Tomio made sure to go to work with it.
Yeah, he continuously found advantages, continuously invaded onto Solid Snake's jungle. And I think that's why I kind of highlighted the fact that you have to find a way to slow down this map control from LG, because that is how they have choked out team after team, and why they had found themselves as a 2-time NACL champion just this year off the back of a lot of that momentum. We'll see what happens in game number 2. For Estral, I think you can obviously talk so much about the story coming into this. The fluctuations in the roster of having Chintal is not exactly what they wanted coming into this, into the do or die setup in the lower bracket. But this is also a team that has shown a lot of grit. They were able to take down Conviction. They were able to finally beat their demons in SDM just yesterday. And I definitely want to see a little bit more life for this team and continuing those kind of low bar of execution comps to make sure that they give themselves a winning condition.
Well, hey, I know the matchup that we highlighted going into the day, Mazel. It was Tactical versus Ghost. Tactical definitely got the best of Ghost in that game, as the Kaisa was very much on point. As we do have an opening Vi being picked up here by Tomio, another pick that he has always played and played well.
Like insta-locked.
I'm curious if we get a Trundle now coming in from Solid Snake. Not exactly a pick that you can play the fastest with, but definitely something that could be an option here. If Astral wants it, I say that. No, it's Lee Sin time.
All right, the LeBlanc was also let through, as we didn't get to talk about the bans, but that was a difference in game number 2 from Astral. They left it open, and now you have a very, very lethal duo in the mid jungle for Astral.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny because Insanity has also played the LeBlanc already in this tournament, as LB saw buffs, and Lee Sin saw buffs before he builds 40 AD. I think 41 is the breakpoint exact. As they put some more power in his base damage and took some out of his bonus AD ratios for the Q, the Sonic Wave. So this is a stronger combo early on. And again, if you're a team like Astral, it really is kind of on Snake and Cody to win, and I can't blame them for taking combos like this when I look at the games yesterday, and it was Solid Snake and Cody that really stepped up to make sure that they took care of the Tigres. So, yeah, I'm not surprised to see this one coming out again. I think that we talked about getting creative when your top laner is auto-filled. This falls in line with, I guess, getting creative. Something that may not work as well in this meta, but is a proven combo that has worked in past ones that did get buffed up on this patch. So, at least in the block it is.
And your side lane pressure is actually so incredible. Like you can find big picks in the side lane with the LeBlanc Lee Sin combo. I have to talk though. Yes, we get the Kragus. We talk about that later. I gotta talk about LG though, man. They have set a wall. They have drawn a line in the sand and say, if you can't out mechanic us, if you can't outpace us early on, we are just going to take team fight after team fight in the late game.
That's a lot of wave clearance scaling they have with the Sivir and the Victor. But with Sivir, always have to mention or talk about, is Sivir going to be able to auto-attack in fights? The ability for LeBlanc to delete a Sivir. Spell Shield is a big help there. But still, LeBlanc, even later, can have pressure to try and chunk you out. So do you think it's important? There's going to be a point in the game where Tactical doesn't have Vamp yet and could be pressured by the LeBlanc. But yeah, the ability to clear waves quickly is one way to play defense against Lee Sin LeBlanc for sure, because you're right about that side lane pressure, Mazel. That just the reach and the ability to find kills with the single target damage that they have between these two. But hey, if you can delete those waves with Victor and Sivir, that's less time where you might be vulnerable in that side lane, whether you're catching a wave or pushing one. So interesting, as LG again showing a lot of defense, and defense for Shintal as they're gifting him 2 bans to try and pilot this Gragas into whatever Fake God wants after York and Aatrox are off the board.
Yeah, no Malphite ban this time around. But we do see trying to whittle down what Fake God can at least go with. I do still like the Gragas just because you can always have that team fight aspect that we were talking about, at least impact with the cask and everything, really space clearing. And we saw some good setups for him on that pick just yesterday. The Lucian ban is going to signal that LG do not want to deal with a fast-paced 2v2 down there for Ghost.
I think very reasonable, given that Well, Astral is already looking to blow up the game with a Lee Sin and a LeBlanc. So, going to deny the Rakan. Valid pick that Zeyzal could have taken. With the Vi to pair into the Lee Sin and the LeBlanc. That's a good follow-up / chain CC there. Kind of curious to see if he grabs something like a Nautilus here, as depth charge can be very valuable into Lee Sin LeBlanc. And also you have a pretty positive matchup into Rakan, as it looks like tank duty for Fake God up on the top side. Definitely has the ability to play carries into the role-swapped mid lane to top lane streamer in Shintal for today's match. But hey, Fake God playing the Scion thinks it's the right pick this game with that Lee Sin LeBlanc showing. Can't really blame him. Definitely going to force a hyper carry from Ghost if you want to be able to deal with that Scion later on.
Are we worried at all for LG? I mean, they have one of the bread and butter team fight comps, but no real wiggle room in the earlier game besides Tomio.
I think it's going to be a Xayah. I like Xayah Rakan, but Xayah can get outranged later on by Victor and poked down a little bit, and you kind of can deal with Scion, but not really. It's not as easy as some other ADs, so I'm worried about Astral, just because if they don't get off to the races, then yes, things get difficult quickly. Whereas I think for Luminosity Gaming, a wave clear is a defense, and I think it's one that's not talked about enough in League of Legends. Yeah. Your ability to delete a wave, and clearing the wave can really dictate, why, like, how many seconds you're leaving yourself vulnerable, or how many seconds that you were showing on the map before you can fog. They have so much wave clear between the Scion, the Victor, and the Sivir. I think the windows where they might be vulnerable are just going to be a lot less for Astral, who kind of struggle to match that wave clear later on in the game. So do think that the first 2 clears for Solid Snake, he's going to have to get something done or do something aggressive, because if not, I will worry for Astral after that.
Yeah. I gotta say, this might be the most blatant, let's see what you can do, Astral, that I've seen in terms of like the difference in drafts from both teams. And it's really LG coming off a lot of confidence from that game number 1, begging Astral to show them what they've got. And I think this is a moment for Astral to step up. I think you really need to rely on that mid-jungle duo, the homegrown talent that's really been showing out for Astral. That was a key piece to them winning against their nightmares at STM just yesterday, and they're going to need to overcome some new nightmares today as we get into game 2 of LG versus Astral.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Mazel, I'm just pausing to honor the Xiaos that are existing
that are
in LPL,
non-existent,
but also don't exist here, That's all right. Getting into this game, we did see Solid Snake and Cody play an effective Lee Sin LeBlanc game themselves yesterday against the Tigres. Has been a champion that Insanity has played as well in that LeBlanc, and played to a high level. He got the choice of the Victor into it this time around. And we'll see if he's able to force that LeBlanc out. What I always like to kind of say about Victor, this guy, he's a strong laner, he's a strong scaler, he's a terrible roamer. You don't want to leave lane a lot as Victor. You want to make sure that you're getting your stacks and playing with your Airy in this case, is to play the strongest lane you can as Insanity. We'll have some advantages into Cody early on, just given the strength of Victor and the Airy and the setup he went for with bone plating.
And I just want to take a little bit of time to highlight Solid Snake a little bit. I think the story of this guy has been really interesting. We have a lot in the NACL stories of, players going from playing to coaching, back to playing. But this is one that feels like it fits well, right, with Astral. You have a guy who was coaching Isurus, had come in for this big overhaul of the roster for Astral, and again, has been a linchpin for them in terms of the proactivity that they have on the Rift, and something that was really on display over the last couple series for them.
I mean, he's been big in getting this team leads. There's no way around that one. So we'll see if Solid Snake is up to the task on the Lee Sin yet again, as his team is going to need a lead in this one. If A, they want to have success given who their top laner is, but B, also just that has been the winning formula for Astral no matter who is in that top lane. It has been Snake and Cody trying to play fast, get leads, and play from there.
And we'll see if the bounce actually helps out Shintal a little bit in the top lane. Still getting pressured pretty early. We're going to see a 2v2 kickoff in the bot side too, as both junglers will be pathing bot again, just like in last game. See how early they can get some shakeups in the bot side at least. Estral looking to keep priority as much as they can across mid and bot.
Shinto already having some difficulties there on the top side on the Gragas. Yeah. Again, Scion can be quite the stat check. And the wave clear and just the strength of decimating smash that brings
man,
early on
this
is tough.
freeze is brutal.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, he's going to get the wave, but you can see Shinto already not able to interact much up there on the top side. And meanwhile, well, the defense for Tactical is simply just to keep on pushing in those waves with the
ricochet and
Sivir.
push.
Yeah.
And, it enables LG's win conditions, though, because something we've talked about so much for LG is the combination of the trio of Insanity, Zeyzal, and Tomio once they get roaming onto the map, and Zeyzal is already doing so. He will be back into the lane, though, but he was already looking out in the mid lane, going for some of that deep vision into Estral's bot side jungle.
Yeah, I think Tomio was kind of hoping to maybe get a positive trade mid and then go invade the respawn Raptors of the Lee Sin, but gonna take the bot crab, not gonna cross over to that side of the map instead. May take a whiff at this bot lane. Winsome does have that EO
Hit him, Winsome.
available.
Hit him.
Flashes are up.
Let's go.
Winsome's gonna stop that base, but still wrapping up the clear here. Tomio just makes sure that his Sivir is safe, and yeah, everyone's gonna get a really nice reset on this side of the map for Luminosity Gaming. So that is important. Part of why you end the clear here on Vi is that Vi with the denting blows the W, you really unlock the ability to do an early dragon. And I think that's exactly what Luminosity Gaming is going to look at here with Tomio. Take these couple of camps and the Raptors, then go get the dragon.
I actually don't think I've ever seen this. I don't think I've ever seen two supports freezing each other's waves. Unfortunately, I think Winsome lost out on that trade with the health bar. But he's going to actually get his back potentially stopped here from Zeyzal. Yeah, just walking up to make sure. And the resets have come out from both ADs. Look at their inventories. 2 long swords for Ghost, but a pickaxe for Tactical. And that wave clear is going to continue.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Tomio is going to go Raptors into the Dragon here. And as long as that wave clear continues, they should be able to do the Drake. Because Vi has a lot of strength. Yeah, good looking mid for the control ward first.
Let's go. Got some trade. He was hitting Fake God. That's all that matters.
It's pretty tough up here, man. It's
Oh, Cody. Wasn't
I
worth
don't
the
love that for
backstop.
Cody
I don't know
either.
about that.
And
Solid
Snake was able
also.
to get in. He
Yeah.
yoinked something. Cody did get 6, and Snake's going to take the fight. He will force this Vi out, but Zeyzal's coming.
Though. Zeyzal's here. Perfect timing. Solid Snake flashes. The blast cone, though. Can he hit? He's not in range to follow through on the Sonic Wave. And that'll be Solid Snake forcing Tomio out of his jungle.
Honorable attempt, honestly. And while that was going on, I mean, Cody was able to get a little bit of work done into this Victor. As Insanity going to be down some CS. Does have the double Ruby Crystals. As he's going to go Roa and is going to try and live this lane. But a bit of an edge there for Cody in the mid lane. As again, him and Snake have to get things done. It's something. The question is it going to be enough? Because, of course, time very much the ally of Luminosity Gaming in this game.
Kronos is not on their side. As it's going to be really important for them to just have any advantage, albeit wanting a larger one is going to be the case, but any advantage we'll be happy to have for Estral. As we have the reassignment of the lanes, Shintal will move away from the Grub side of things, where it is spawning about a minute and 20 and come down towards bot side.
We got a lot of action going on mid here.
Oh, a 3v3 over here. Winsome dashing out there, but does get locked out of the Chaos Storm. At least the Arcane Storm coming through for them, as they don't end up finding too much there. There will be some summoner spells burn from both sides.
Winsome and Insanity both lost Flash there, so wondering if that started with a Flash Grand
I think
entrance
Cody
to
as
get
well.
Insanity's Flash. Cody's Flash, yeah, might have been burned earlier. Not sure if it was from that play or mid-sequence when Snake was going in, but pretty heavy trade. And again, I mean, Insanity's the one that gets somewhat worse half of it. He's down 20 now, which isn't too shabby.
Oh no, Tomio's camera fell over. I was like, what is this vision that we're seeing? It's a water bottle. All right. Well, hopefully he gets that fixed. But that's
Clean the bottom of
more
your desk,
important
Tomio.
things right now.
You can't have trash on the floor. That's a distraction in your setup.
It's on his desk. It's fine. I think it's
Okay,
on his desk.
we got to be adults here. You know, I'm the type of streamer that steps away from my stream to make sure I have clean dishes
yes.
and clean plates.
Yeah, why don't we just pause right now and have him take everything off his
Yeah,
desk?
we can't do the opposite. It's a
Can't do that.
distraction.
Yes. Anyways, we're getting set up for some objectives right now. There's going to be a decision to be made. Estral have moved a lot of bodies up towards topside for the grubs. Dragon is up on the other side. Does LG just want the trade?
I mean, I think with all the skirmishing, we did really see Luminosity Gaming. They weren't able to get that early Dragon timer that we have seen them very consistently go for when they pick Vi. I think that kind of came from the skirmishing we saw Estral establish. And yeah, I mean, Luminosity Gaming, they're looking at their comp. They're looking at the wave clear saying, we don't want to fight now. We can give away 3 grubs. We're going to see how bad it gets. But if I look at the map at the moment, it is Shintal being very much starved out of the game. As LG have put a lot of resources into this bot side, and Shintal... And I feel like the approach as the sub for him has very much been like, I'm going to make sure I don't lose this one for my team.
Yeah.
I do think that he could have played a little bit more aggressively in a few moments.
It's hard,
or aspects.
though, man.
It is hard, but also, I mean, sometimes your job as a top laner is to, if you die for a wave or a wave and a half, sometimes that's worth it. Just
He's
to
not
burn
a top
the time.
laner. He's a mid
Well,
laner.
exactly. he's got to learn, man. You got to learn by limit testing.
You got to learn on the job. Learn in the fires.
Seriously.
As,
He is the
definitely-
meme of like, I accidentally became important at my job.
He really is. Shout out to Shintal. He's been one of my favorite stories in this tournament, even if it's backs against the wall for him along the way. But this is just typical LG, man. They are not going to force anything. They literally waited for the dragon take anyways. They are just saying, Estral, if you don't have a massive lead, you're going to have to answer later on. And they want to stay away from giving Estral any of those early advantages as much as they can.
I think it's smart. I mean, that Scion's going to be unkillable, and they already have a 1.5k gold lead. You have a comp with Scion, Victor, and Sivir, and that means you're already ahead, quite frankly. So I think the 3 grubs for the Dragon trade is okay for Luminosity Gaming, as we'll see really if and when the first play of the game comes from them. Because if I'm a Straw, I think it's about time. I mean, the Snake's getting close to the Eclipse, and it's about time to start, you know, making some Lee Sin LeBlanc things happen, or at least trying to make some Lee Sin LeBlanc things happen.
Got to see some attempts at least. See that combo come to fruition here, but slowly but surely, that lead has been developed just purely off CS as Ghost and Tactical going at it in the 1v1. The spell shield will be popped. The Blade Caller not going to do nearly enough damage for Ghost, but they do get some push prio in bot side at least.
Tactical is going to stick around for that one, nothing else. As he'll just take the reset, as we do have a cannon wave, and Ghost takes the plate for himself. So, well played by Ghost. Again, the Xayah this game. I think you have some advantages into the Sivir, as that Rip can be pretty dangerous against Sivir, as she's at low range. But I think for just where this game is at again, I'm so happy to be Luminosity Gaming in this game state, because I'm hitting tab, and my top laner has a Titanic Hydra versus a Tyr and a Ruby Crystal.
Dude, that's despicable, Fake God. It's despicable. As we do have Tomi also completing his Sundered Sky. Essence Reaver there for Tactical. Ghost will answer in kind with his own. You can see that Estral maybe don't have the advantage they would want, cresting over into that mid game. We will have more objectives coming up for a little while. About 2.5 minutes on the Dragon here, but Estral really need to use some of these in-between moments to find any kills they can. And so far, they've been playing extremely reserved. We still haven't really seen the link-up of Cody and Solid Snake.
Yeah, outside of the first 7 minutes, right, Mazel? Is there were a couple skirmishes around mid, but after the grubs have spawned, there's been nothing. And yeah, we're both pretty aligned in the importance of keeping this game quick for Estral. So yeah, I see an Eclipse on the Lee Sin. I mean, it's kind of time to get involved and get active if I'm Solid Snake. Just curious if he's able to find anything here.
Zeyzal again, this trio already out of the map. He has spent so much time just hovering around Tomio and Insanity, just looking to unlock them. And now LG are the ones that are feeling zealous as they move over, clear out some of this vision that had been established by Estral. We also do have the bot lane almost going down to Fake God, as LG are looking to try to make some marks onto the feats of strength.
Look at the entertainment down here. Well, if you miss the body
dude,
slam, your
does so
cooldown
much
doubles.
damage, man. It's
Yeah.
not fair. Oh,
The
Shintal, I feel for you.
whatever kind of power he's able to get from at least cosplaying Gragas at some point, and of course,
Bro. What kind of music is Shintal listening to right now? What's getting him through this?
hopefully
Is
none.
this some T Swift?
No, you
Cubby?
get a max focused, and you know the new T Swift album's bad when everyone's only sharing like 2 songs. Usually,
Yeah.
if it's a good album, you see your friends share like 5. It's only 2 guys that you're seeing, and then
It's
the other one
only
that you're
2.
not seeing is like, oh, haha, that one's inappropriate. Why did she write that? Oh my God! As we see, Fake God.
I
Gotta
don't
go
think you
stop,
could
but he's
take
gonna
this.
catch Winsome though, and I don't think he's that scared.
I don't think he is either. Almost got the turret there in the end. I'm imagining the ISHO speed meme as Shintal right now. We'll see if he can still have that team-wide aspect coming into these fights as they continue to kick off. But Zazel and Tactical will reposition up towards top side. I do not think LG want to give over that Rift Herald and give a little bit more prio up there as they're actually looking for a play. There's a play happening in the bot side, but this is a level 10 Scion. The turret's doing work here. He's buying so much damn time. It will not be time enough, though. They get first blood finally, and there won't be the trade in the top side. So Estral coming out big.
All right, getting that ult out of the Scion early ended up being kind of worth it. It is still first brick going over to Luminosity Gaming as Solid Snake is going to start this dragon. I believe Insanity is aware, and I don't believe that LG can contest, so they're going to get the dragon. They do lose out on the first brick. Should get that brick a little bit later, though, with the 3 grubs and plates falling. I think Ghost should be able to take this one down. And not a bad play from Astral.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's something in their favor, which
It's
is
a win for sure.
far from that game number 1, as they did end up finding the play on Pate.
Oh.
He flashes on the other side of Tobio. Ghost in a little bit of trouble now. He's going to have to back away. Doesn't get hit by the boomerang blade and Solid Snake. He's looking for the follow-through on a Tactical, and that angle looks good. Astral finally doing what their comp desires and feasting on LG.
Good TP, Shintal, be there for your team, man. That's exactly what they needed as Ghost flashed in Shintal's TP. Gets Ghost and Astral out of there with another kill, and they cut into that gold lead a little bit from Luminosity Gaming. So I don't know how much longer in the game they're going to actually be able to find plays onto this Scion. I think Scion gets way too tanky for the comp outside of this Xayah.
He definitely went with the damage first, too, so... maybe a little bit of a different story if he's a little bit tankier, but they took advantage of it nonetheless. Feeling really good from Estral to see some proactivity. But again, time is not their friend, and Winsome, he's going to have to dash out with the grand entrance, make his way away, but the Rift Herald plays under LG's ire.
I don't see a contest here from Astral. I think Solid Snake's just going to commit to the bot side, and if anyone shows up against that LeBlanc, they're going to go for it, but no one's showing from LG on that side of the map. Terrell taken down. Luminosity Gaming gets back to their objective ways, but we're going to take another look at what happened down here. As it looks like
Ghost
Tomio was
flashing
trying
in
to...
front of the Vault Breaker.
Yeah, it looks like Tomio was trying to take... If we stop the recall, get a little bit cheeky here and play around with the tempo, and he gets out of there, but Tactical does not. So losing the Sivir there, pretty big deal, as Astral able to take that Sivir off the map and get some gold into Ghost, importantly. I think throughout that play, he got the first brick, he got the kill onto the Scion, and that's a big positive moving forward.
It is indeed. The Xayah will be the hyper carry of this comp. Even if we don't speak of Xayah in super hyper carry terms, it is still like the saving grace and damage for Estral.
Yeah, I mean, again, if anyone's going to get through Scion later on, it really is Xayah and no one else. And that is still kind of the concern that I see with Astral is that, yes, we have had a couple of positive plays go their way, but big picture, it's a 1.5K gold lead for the team with Victor, Sivir, and the Scion. I think the best news, if you're an Astral fan, is that Ghost is ahead of the Sivir. So that, I mean, that's a small win, but I feel pretty good about Sivir being able to auto-attack this game if Sivir is not one-shot. And I think the ability for Nautilus to hold the line with Vi is quite good. As
This was a play set up by Estral on the other side of the Hex Gates, though LG are tanky as hell here, and the double knock-up as Winsome gets locked down. Solid Snake is the focus now, and he will be taken out. Meanwhile, Cody tries to go and instantly gets his clone popped as the Arcane Storm is going. It is Estral that try to pull a quick play on LG, but come up with nothing.
Free farm for Chinto up top. That's the saving grace. I don't think that's exactly what Astral wanted, but
They didn't expect the tanky bodies there, man.
No, I mean,
you see
again-
a bunch of hex gates being activated, and then there's 3 just beefy bodies walking out at you. I think it's a little bit tough.
again, the Scion is so big. So yeah, it's pretty tough to move Fake God.
Feels tough. And now about 3,000, almost 2.5k for LG. As we get a redeploy onto the map. About 1 minute and 10 seconds for the next dragon. Will be the first of the Hextech Soul dragons. So we'll see if LG can get that one under their belt here and get a second dragon, or if Astral are going to keep focus on these objectives, which they've done very well so far. But I will note that Tomio also has the Rift Herald in his back pocket.
Dragon going to be spawning here in 45 seconds. I think that Rift in the back pocket, Mazel, likely to see that one emerge here is...
Oh,
yeah, no, go to live, go to live, go to live. There's a
okay, we
play.
got the pick out
We
there.
don't wanna
They
think about
try
that
to
one.
end up finding a play, but Winsome gets caught out. LG, they just full 5-man stack in the mid lane and say, this is truly the name ram you asked for, Astral. As they find another pick, they find another lockdown, and Solid
A depth
Snake can
charge.
depth charge through the backline here. The Rift Herald's going to come in, try to get the turret down as well. This is a detrimental lead going the way of LG for Astral's hopes here. Their mechanical execution was not up to par so far in the early game, and I feel like we're reaching that precipice where LG is unstoppable.
Yeah, that look from Winsome just a little bit too deep and a little bit desynced, as Jintal not up yet in range to really help out, and LG has that 5-stack. They were playing on that mid wave to get prio for this dragon. They were playing on that mid wave to drop Herald to get further prio for this dragon. I think Astral trying to contest them in that scenario with not all their pieces there. For me, it's pretty telegraphed that you're going to have LG play through mid with the Rift Herald, given the comp they have and how they want to get that objective. So I think trying to fight them the way before was a little bit of a miss. Like, you know that LG is going to be there. So, yeah, that was a bit of an interesting one for me. And now it's a 4K gold lead coming in, and
Okay.
Snake might be in trouble.
But look how confident LG are feeling now with their scaling item coming online
should.
here. They end up finding the counterplay on Astral as the Arcade Storm is not even going to be used just yet. As trying to find an angle. Is Astral in the pit? They're going to get the clone out. Solid Snake tries to go for the... What? Solid Snake! He tried to go for the predict on Fake God, but
Tackle
instead
kicked
Fake
over.
God
Wait,
turns
he's
it back
flashing?
around. Now Sintal's in the pit, but he is not going to do too much. Ghost is in some trouble now. He gets boomerang bladed and taken out in the end. A double kill for Fake God, and LG balloon this one up to almost 5,000 20 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason this fight looked close is the fact that Tactical wasn't able to auto-attack until he flashed in. And I don't mind the fact that he played this one a little bit slower because, A, you want to save your flash on Sivir, and B, you want to make sure you enter the fight at the right time if you do enter that fight, and he did. Tactical waited out a few big cooldowns, was able to get in, get involved, and make sure that LG won that one at the end.
Really interesting stuff as Astral continuously try to find plays here or there. A couple things not lining up for them. They are on second item now for Ghost. We had seen that Lord Dom's completed a while back for him. That scaling cannot come fast enough for Ghost. The only piece that feels like we'll have a say later on. But unfortunately, if you don't have the team comp in front of you, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. As now LG, they have taken that momentum and they are like bloodthirsty dogs running after their prey. It's going to be Cody getting locked down by Tobio. The rest of LG can't really join, but Tobio's about to take him down by himself.
Depth charge.
The depth charge comes over and the laser beam from Insanity signals the charge from LG as an unstoppable onslaught right onto Ghost. So much damage there from that Scion coming through. He's going to try to go for the decimating smash. Doesn't find the lockdown, but they will find the lockdown onto Shintal.
No!
As that's going to be a big pick onto the top laner of Estral.
Oh, I wonder what the cosplay is for the gray screen there from Shintal, as sadly he falls. And Luminosity Gaming, again, they had the scaling advantage in this draft. And Fake God, yes, he fell once early on, but this Scion, we were concerned about the damage that Lee Sin the Blanc were going to do later on. It definitely was going to be dealt to the Scion. And, well, if you're the Blanc's forced to run around to fight like that, if you have the Vi just hunting you, and making sure that you can't really have a fight out of the back line of LG. That's a tough task, as I think we send LeBlanc into Vi. A little bit of a bold pick there, one that Luminosity Gaming is taking full advantage of.
Again, we said it from the draft. This was absolutely a setup where Estral said, we are just going to try to outpace you. It is a test of ourselves and what we can do against LG, and unfortunately they came up failed in that test, as LG have reached at least close to what they needed to. 3 items is going to be really huge for them, but doesn't feel like anybody can stop this LG team fighting, which all 5 together is so scary. And while we don't have another objective for about a minute and a half, we're going to have dual objectives with the Baron up and the Dragon. That would be sole point for LG.
I mean, there's no pressure for them to take the Dragon. This guy, LG is so far ahead that they kind of have nothing to do but delete waves here. I mean, truly.
But guys, we didn't expect to be ahead. What do we do now?
It's they've already taken the Otacon. There's no Dragon spawning in this timer. They're just kind of waiting for objectives to come back and get back to being available. As objective and Cody.
That might be the objective they're looking for. He goes back to his clone, and I don't think he's going to make it out of that one. That's going to be a lot of gold. 370 to be exact, going in Insanity, and now it is just Estral running out of options.
I think he thought that the dredge line would connect with the wall, and then he gets depth charge wherever he goes, so just trying to avoid the depth charge range. Risky snake.
Okay. A little bit late on the follow-up. Ghost wasn't in range just yet. The Blade Collar combo will be there with the Featherstorm. Gives the shutdown over to Ghost. So some of that damage coming through now, but that will just be Zazel down. They still have Fate God as the front line.
This poor Gragas is level 12, man. Shintal has just been... He's got a TP.
He hasn't gotten Flame Horizon. That's
I know.
That's
I think if
win.
you're Shintal, though, you got to just go find a wave to farm if you got TP up, because being level 12 is... I know he's trying not to lose the game for his team, but if you get this far behind, then it's kind of a tough spot to be in if you're him, too. So... Man, I mean, a kill, a shutdown onto Zazel, but still, it's only a shutdown out of the support. A lot used for that. And just getting one is Fake God. Gonna tank up everything, and Solid Snake got caught.
Oh, he's trying to get out now. Cody goes back in for some damage. Tomio's just hunting Ghost now, but he's a little bit overextended. Dredgeline comes through from the grave. Zazel comes back to try to get something. Shintal is the front line, but he's getting decimated. Smashing that level 12. Gragas cannot hold the front line. Tactical goes on a killing spree. Solid Snake gonna be found to be behind enemy lines, but Fake God and Tactical, they're gonna try to run down Cody here too. He's gonna get the pull back to his clone, but it's not gonna be nearly enough, and Fake God goes on his own killing spree now. As finally Solid Snake is going to be found out by Insanity and Zazel. They will try to take him down, and he's under turret, so it'll be an easy does it. As a big shutdown had gone over, Solid Snake did kill Tomio, but it's still a 7,000 gold lead for Luminosity.
LG are going to reset and try and take that Hextech Dragon off the map, as I think that's where they're going to go first. That said, if they start heading towards the top side, they might think about the Baron. No, going to go to the Dragon and try and get themselves that soul point, as really feels like the Astral comp, they were on a timer. I think we're already in the point, or the camp, where they've run out of time. Outside of Ghost Heroics, it really has to be where any hopes for Astral rides on, as he is the only player that's really close in items to their counterpart. And with the Infinity Edge now completed, we'll see if Ghost can have a pop-off fight, but keeps on looking more and more difficult for him and for Astral as this game moves forward, and as Luminosity Gaming lock down soul point for themselves.
Yeah, 3 items is going to feel good, obviously. You'll have a little bit of that fight pressure. We saw him already be able to kind of melt through Zazel as well. There's a couple other members you're going to have to deal with here. But I do love that Astral have not stopped looking for things, because you're not going to win the scale. You just have to find anything you can, and they're still looking to this very moment. They've got LG surrounded, but you got to remember, this is a meatball comp from LG, and I don't think Estral really like meatballs that much. As Solid Snake will be found out by Tomio. They're going to get the decimating smash on top of him too. He just can't move. He is CC'd to oblivion, and that will be the signal that LG needed to try to take the rest of this fight, as the flank has been initiated by Tomio. He's going to try to find Shintal. He won't find him. Shintal goes back in, trying to find the belly pop, but now finds himself amongst 5 members of LG as Tactical goes on his own rampage. The Arcane Storm is ticking, and the winds are beating at the backs of Estral as that Baron is already half health. Ghost looking for a mega flank right now, but he could just get caught out. He still has the Feather Storm. They're going to try to turn onto him. Dredgeline doesn't go through. He's going to flash on the tackle. Ghost is stepping up to the plate right now. That 3-item spike for the world champion is maybe just enough. He's going to be a 2v4 that he's trying to take. The Blade Caller's going to come back through and do decent damage. Insanity's going to step up to Ghost, and Ghost just takes him down. No, the lockdown comes through. Insanity's still alive. The double CC bouncy castle. Ghost still finds a kill, goes on a killing spree, but will go down in the end of Fake God. And what a play from Ghost. The attempt to save Astral's life.
They can't reset. Fake God's going to play bodyguard.
Oh, double TP.
That's a TP.
That's going to be
That's
Shintal
Shintal.
coming as well. Solid Snake has already taken this fight, but he's getting a little bit lower here. Shintal coming in with the combo here. Belly bop as well, and they get the shutdown onto Fake God. So it's a lot of gold going to Solid Snake.
I mean, that was the best case scenario for Astral. They make things sloppy. It's kills everywhere, but because they're behind, they get more shutdowns. And I thought the cool play in that, Ghost flashing in actually set Winsome up while his ult was running to E back to the Xayah with the extended range. That charm is what caught Tactical and made him look goofy there as a really unique setup to actually get CC on the Sivir with the angle of Winsome going in on one side, then Eing with the charm active through Tactical to find him and get to the other side of the fight and kill Ghost, who had a massive fight. He burned everything, all the sums in that one, but I think it was well worth it as Ghost did his damnness to try and carry.
Dude, I love to see Ghost go Super Saiyan. Just try to make this a little bit more even for Estral. He's been a guy that didn't show up in game number 1, but has been a key piece to a lot of their team fight win conditions throughout their run here. It's nice to see him finally show his face. 6-3 on the Xayah. And you bring him into the roster for a reason. That experience, that veterancy, the clutch moments. And it's now do or die in this game, as Shintal is going to find a catch on Azazel, but Azazel can just take the fight right back. Yeah, Shintal did not want that one. He has no tools to get out now, and he is down. Solid Snake tries to go for a play, tries to go for the flash, tries to go for the insect, but he will just be an insect taken down by Tactical. Goes for a double kill, not even going to get the triple as Fake God takes that one from him, and LG are going to end the game here. No one is left to stand against the tide of Luminosity Gaming. Let the light shine through as they move themselves to match point.
Shintal, though, it was looking at least a little bit better. I think this one was over either way for Astral, but they at least show some fight, show some grit around the Baron. But not enough fight early on, as Luis and LeBlanc had to get going, and it felt like they only got flashes, they only got chunks, they only got 1-for-1s. They didn't get anything game-breaking in that early game going their way. And Luminosity Gaming able to scale up, scale into the game, and be the better team when grouping up with a better comp that was stronger.
Got to give big shout outs to Estral in a game that if you didn't have a lead by 15 minutes, things were going to be tough. The fact that they continuously looked for plays, that they continuously, Solid Snake just trying to force plays. I love to see that angle from them instead of kind of backing down and not doing anything. And even if they were down 7,000-8,000 gold, they were still able to find pullbacks with those shutdowns as well. But it is still not enough, and now they find themselves on match point to being eliminated from the promotion tournament.
Yeah, we both had 3-0 for LG. I think that how the first two games have gone, wouldn't be too surprised. You would have told me that we'd be here in this scenario, and the first two games looked how they did, with, I think, Fake God finding big advantages and actually being able to drive these home, unlike what we saw against Yanni the other day, where he was able to get advantages, but the rest of the map went the side of Astral, and then he was never able to actually use his advantages to kind of get back and win the game. There were some heroics from Ghost in that game and in that fight, and look, the hopes for Astral really rode on him later on when the rest of the comp that needed to really get ahead early did not. He was the only one that was even. Ghost did his damnness to try and carry. So I think that's a saving grace or a decent sign if you are an Astral fan, but still, we expected the match to look like this today, and frankly, LG being up 2-0 in the fashion they've done it so far, not the biggest surprise.
Yeah, we're going to have a long conversation about what and how Estral get back in this series, if they can. After a short little break, we'll be breaking down that game 2 and talking about game number 3. Welcome back, everyone, to the LTA North 2026 promotion tournament. I'm Mazel, I'm joined by Cubby, and we are at match point between LG and Estral, as we have had two very one-sided games, and now we take a look at what Estral can do to get back into this series.
Yeah, and look, we thought that it would be difficult for Estral with their sub in Shintal, a streamer, a master tier midlaner playing top. The fact they found a 3-0 yesterday, we were very surprised about, as it was an impressive performance from Estral. But I think the rest of the map, we knew that Shintal was going to have a hard time in the top lane. We kind of accepted that coming in. The rest of the map for Estral has not been able to find the same leads that they got yesterday against the Tigres. So going to have to see if they can all step up as a team to try and win this game and really continue this series, as I think reverse sweeps are very difficult to find in Fearless Draft. So definitely a tough task for Estral coming up.
Yeah, exactly. As we take a look back at some of the clips from that game, this is the setup that Estral really wanted on the other side of the Hex Gates, but just too much of an advantage had already been built up by LG.
I think Winsome's engages there, not finding the squishies, and then a beautiful re-engage from Zazel as that depth charge. I mean, he got the Xayah ult, got 2 knockups along the way. And definitely set the table for the rest of LG, who from here, I think they got a 3 to 4k gold lead after that play. As, well, Shintal, he might have thrown a celebratory cask out yesterday, but not today.
Oh, man.
That was an oopsie, you know, fat finger, it happens.
It happened right before that fight kicked off, too.
Yeah,
So that just feels a little bit bad.
I don't think having the R here makes the difference or not, as the engage from Winsome was a whiff, and the hopes for a straw. I mean, the Baron fight, again, I thought they played quite well from behind. They actually made things sloppy. I'm excited to actually talk about that mechanic that Ghost and Winsome used coming up here, because this was a close one.
Yeah, it was indeed. But unfortunately, it was a situation as we take a look. Oh, he saw the... He sees a... actually, Solid Snake survived for a long time.
He got the kill on the Tomio here. This was a... Oh, wait, no.
No, it wasn't this
when
one.
he came back,
No.
when he came back,
There
he
was
got the
another
kill.
one. There was another one.
Yeah, when he came back, he got the solo kill. As, okay, this was a little bit later into this, after they already got Tactical. It was a flash from Ghost, then an E with the charm up on Winsome that actually caught Tactical. It was very nice. As Insanity, good flash there to kind of bait Ghost back in. And we're able to find the kill.
Yeah,
Eventually,
this was so tight, man.
it was tight. I mean, again, Estral tried their damnedest here to try and make something happen. It was a really respectable fight from Ghost. I thought he played that one really well.
And again, I still have to go back to the fact that, you know, Estral didn't stop looking. This was unfortunately the nail in the coffin on the back of Shintal's missed cask. But they still continue to try to find picks. And that's where I wanted to start talking, and why I've kind of foreshadowed it at the end of game number 2 is we've seen 2 iterations of LG. Their second game, I think, is the most telling in the second draft, because they literally said, Estral, what do you have in your tank? What can you bring out to beat us? Because if you don't beat us by a certain time, then we'll just win the game anyways. I don't know if Estral have an answer to even that. And I don't think scaling versus scaling is going to work out for them. So I do beg the question of, how does Estral draft for this game number 3?
I mean, we'll see, man. They're obviously very limited with Shintal top. And I think the Aurora bans from LG have been smart so far.
Yeah.
As they know that's one that Shintal can play. And the fact that he got a good matchup for it against, or at least yesterday, was a little bit surprising on my end. But yeah, I mean, I think the top lane differential in the first 2 games has been very significant. Again, thought one of the biggest differences coming in is that Fake God, much better player than Yanni in the top lane. Fake God being their 4-time NACL champion in the last 4 splits that he has played. And yeah, he has taken care of business and made Shintal look a little bit more auto-filled than what he looked like yesterday, which I think is definitely Fake God's goal for the day. So Shintal is still doing his best, honorable to step in and actually win a series the way that he did yesterday with 3-0. But any hopes to win the series, it feels like it's got to be on Ghost, who did have a good game. I mean, keep in mind that
Almost
lead that he had at
50%
14.
damage? That's crazy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, look at the Gragas. He did 6k damage into the Scion. That was not great. Ghost had to step up, and he did his damnedest to do so. I had the gold advantage for the swap. The 3 grubs they took, got the first brick bot on the Ghost. A couple positive plays for the Xayah. Couldn't string anything together start to finish, and the rest of his team was definitely behind. But I do think that Ghost is a decent shout out, as he performed decently well in that last game.
And I do wonder if that's going to be enough. Obviously, this team for Estral was brought together to make this run. And the fact that they're here, even with the fluctuation in top lane for them, is a statement to what they've been able to put together. Maybe some of the lackluster performances in playoff being redeemed at this point, but they still need to find a turnaround here against LG, who just seem unstoppable. We're going to talk about tactical as well here moving forward, because there's not one position on LG that isn't performing, but I do want to hyper focus on this bot lane 2v2 that has started to kind of get a little bit more topsy-turvy, and if tactical can just cleanly close out this last game of the series.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Tactical had a fine game. It was a pretty cool catch that Ghost and Winsome had on him around the Baron fight that removed him early. Outside of that, I do think that Tactical played well, but we did set the table at the start of today that I really feel like the team waiting the victors in grand finals in disguise. Rahel is the strongest player in the tournament for me, and I thought a big difference in that first matchup was that Rahel was fantastic from start to finish. I thought Tactical was good in those games, but not good enough to topple Rahel and DSG. So yeah, I do think Tactical had a nice game. I know that there's a lead on Ghost. It was swap of power with some of the swaps we had early on. I think that he played the Sivir out actually very well in the lane phase when it was the 2v2 with Zazel. But yeah, Tactical, we're going to have to see if he can continue to perform because LG, I think, is really going to need him. I expect them to win this series, but I think they really need Tactical to be at his best tomorrow if they want to take down Rahel in disguised.
I gotta ask you, maybe this is getting a little bit ahead of the point, but you know, is this a situation where LG maybe like they would like maybe more momentum, more practice? Maybe they go with a little bit of an off-meta comp and try some things here, because I think, you know, taking a 3-0 back into DSG where maybe you're not learning things or you're not adapting, maybe you get the same result of some sort.
Nope, I think that the only thing you care about if you're LG is not showing anything new. If there's anything new that you might show for tomorrow, you don't need to show it here. You haven't been pushed yet. Hide that, save that for tomorrow. But frankly, I think they'd want to win, because if they do win, they have to travel to Mexico City as a crew.
Tactical's got his bags packed, bro. He knows.
I mean, they're going to need it. It's probably going to be a quick airport trip, as they have to go across the continent, I will say, to, in his case, get from Toronto to Mexico City. And excited to see what things will look like on the 12th. Because, of course, we do have our finals to decide who gets that promotion spot between Disguise and the victors of this series on October 12th. But before that, we got to wrap up the series, and we're doing so dive into the Game 3 draft as Astral. They picked the red side last game, but they got blue side this time around.
They did indeed. We'll see if that changes things, what they want to go for that first pick, because you remember, this is do or die moving forward. Every game from Astral. This is a team that came together in split 2 of the year to make this run. They've got to find an easily executable comp for them in this game number 3 to start the reverse sweep. We already see some very similar bands to before, as Astral will go for the first pick, Corki.
Yeah, and we did highlight the fact that Corki was a big pick for Ghost. Felt like he was playing it well, the ability to dive in and be bursty with the team. Something that Ghost was using quite well. And a little bit of a takeaway from Tactical too, as good Corki player himself. But oh boy, that's a very defensive identity up against LG, or that LG is taking up against Astral, as Tomio has not gotten Maokai for the entire tournament. And Tomio's going to get his hands on a pick that he has played very well throughout his career in this one.
And I think that's going to be perfectly fine for them. I think giving them a lot of setup. I love the Maokai, as you had mentioned earlier. But more importantly, it's just giving them some of that team fight scaling that had worked so well for them in game number 2. We're going to take a little bit more of a fast-paced jungle here as well once you get rolling, pun intended, as Solid Snake will be locking in the Lilia.
You know what? I kind of like this pick. I actually feel like you can play Lilia into Ezreal Maokai. You're going to need the scale, because you got to get to 2-3 items, but this is a very strong identity champion that I think sometimes in Fearless, it's just good to have strong identities later on. If you're good with those balls, or you got to flash up, you're always going to be able to find an engage here later on. So we'll see if Solid Snake can step up and do so. Definitely, we've seen him primarily on the fighters, Mazel, trying to get the ball rolling, but this is going to be a different look for him, as Lilia needs to get clears and needs to get items in order to really start to be very effective. So Luminosity Gaming, they lock in the Renekton for Fake God, and that is 2 Malphite bans being thrown at Shintal. That is
rightfully so,
respect.
man. Don't let him press the R button. As I really do appreciate that. But we have seen a clear indication that Estral are also going for scaling. So they're saying the early game shenanigans didn't work for us. Let's just go scaling v scaling and see what happens. Now, the Renekton does offer a little bit more of that early prowess
Yone
for
ban?
LG. But we'll see the Braum ban kick off the support ban focus of Estral in the second phase.
Braum makes some sense. I think Braum struggles in Lilia, but good pairing with Maokai, and definitely something that Zazel's willing to play. I think you take away Yone here from Cody. Just, it's something that can hunt Ezreal and kind of brings a little bit of power with the Lilia. Yeah, I'm gonna take that one away from Cody, who does love his assassins and melees there in the mid lane.
Kind of think what the second phase is going to be looking like, as a lot of focus has gone down onto this solo lane for LG, as we'll see what they want to keep for that counter pick. You got to remember, we have the 1-2 punch from Estral with their final couple picks after this one. It is going to be the Melio for Zazel.
Whoa, that, I mean, thematic counter to Lilia, as that engage tool now of the Lilting Lullaby can be instantly nullified by Zazel pressing R if he's standing around his teammates. So that's a pretty big pickup. But definitely, I mean, that puts you in a lack of engage, as the only real main engage is coming from the Maokai. So I really don't mind a Smolder here, as I expect that Smolder to be in the hands of either Ghost or Cody, with the other one playing the Corki. We'll see what the mid lane matchup looks like, but it does bring some of that AD power and some scaling that will be good later on for Astral.
All right, what does Shintal get here in this final pickup? We are really throwing everything at the wall here as the Akali gets locked in. Maybe it's the Smolder top. Maybe it's the Akali top.
Is it Smolder? Is it Corki top or Smolder top? Like, what's going on here from Shintal?
Throw him for a loop.
I mean, Corki top
any
is
good
playable.
Rocky fan knows.
Both are playable. This is going to be quite interesting. As a bit of an eclectic comp yet again, but we did see Cody play the Vayne to victory yesterday. As this is going to be Ezreal mid from Insanity. Okay, so some interesting flexes going on. I will say, this is Luminosity Gaming in a way kind of showing something. As where I'm expecting Ezreal mid.
Maybe we'll end up getting the Akali top for Shintal. Maybe going
Jinx
for
has a
something
real range
little bit
advantage.
more.
Yeah,
more
Jinx has a
advantageous.
range advantage here that you can use into Corki and Smolder with just the Qs and the auto attacks. So I think some of the idea here for LG is to utilize that range between the Jinx, between the Ezreal, try and actually win out on some of these poke wars, and then the Lilia is the big engage tool that you can completely nullify, whereas Maokai Nature's Grasp is going to be so powerful this game.
Yeah.
Because really the only person that can tank it's Rel.
I do really like that Shintal is on an assassin from the mid lane for this transfer up to the top lane of him. He will be on a comfort champion for himself, and still opting into a lot of those scaling options for Estral, going for some of that team fight potential here with the double marksman on both sides. You got to remember, this is do or die for Estral. Every game from here on out is their life in the tournament. The tournament that they set their sights on at the beginning of this split 2, when they put together this roster, when they brought in world champion Ghost, and trying to make the difference in a team that might just be labeled a super team. We're getting into this one with Shintal in the top side, subbing in with all the things that have happened. This team needs to pull all the grit out of the bag, or LG are going to smooth clean themselves into that finals against DSG.
I mean, some creativity coming out from both teams here in this potential rubber match. I mean, it is a rubber match if you're Astral, but LG trying to put them away here. Insanity, I mean, we've highlighted before how Insanity was kind of known in the LCS, picking up the Jhin mid. We saw him try Draven mid. I'm not sure if he tried Ezreal mid. I know Bradley tried it throughout the split, or past splits, as Fearless, of course, forces creativity, and this mid-lane matchup definitely a little bit different than what we're used to seeing.
See if this difference is what makes or breaks Estral as we get into it now. I do expect a little bit more nuance in the jungle. I don't think we're going to be getting those crazy invades all that often earlier on in the game like we've seen in the past games. And how do we feel about that for Estral? Like, do we feel like this is an all right answer based on what we've seen so far on the day?
I think it's going to be too slow and too weird of a comp, but I respect the attempt. I do think that they struggled to put away the last game quickly. So at least the shift to, like, Smolder Lilia scaling is different. And, I mean, somewhat playable. So, I don't think it's going to be good enough. I mean, I just don't think Estral is good enough on the day. We both predicted LG 3-0. I appreciate how it is a different attempt.
All right, well, difference maybe all that matters. It's going to be opposite side, or at least a little bit of a unique path from Tomio, as he did start his Raptors and then moved immediately down to his bot side, so maybe trying to adapt focus towards this top side for himself, get this Renekton ahead, but Insanity's got push on Cody as well.
Kind of curious, you know, this bot side right now. I'm wondering how many levels it's going to take for Milio to start to balance out the power of the Corki Rel. Because the defense that Zeyzal can play is with that Super Mega Fire Kick. You can cancel Rel's W on the engage, but of course a Q Flash is the way to guarantee a play down there if you want to win some. And level is definitely necessary for the Milio to start to kind of balance out the extra power that Corki's going to bring to the table early on here.
I think the first time I've seen a double marksman matchup in a while. Definitely opting into some of those 2-3 item spikes especially. But I do love that Estral have that saving grace of Cody getting those stacks, having some of that execute damage against maybe not the tankiest team on LG. Trying to take advantage of that one, but I do also appreciate that some push has been gained by Estral on the bot side. We will see the junglers come to the end of their clears, and we actually saw Solid Snake go for a play in mid lane. Meanwhile, Winsome overextends himself a little bit, and Tactical's feeling himself in this trade as Solid Snake returned to try to take down Insanity, but all he had to do was Arcane Shift out.
Still got a flash out of him. As
it took a while for it to come down.
yeah, Shintal. He actually popped the Ignite. I do know that Shintal, since he figured out that Summit wasn't going to be here, he's been trying to spam the Akali, and I fear the Akali is going down.
Come on! 3 first bloods on my screen. That's crazy. As we saw the first blood marker on all 3 of the positions that we had highlighted, and Fake God will now be ahead in the top side. He got hit by the Swirl Seed. We'll slice and dice his way away. Should be all right, but now you got to imagine what Fake God's going to try to do with this small advantage.
And it is his Renekton. Champion is very good on Tactical Zoom.
Okay.
As trying to cash in on those Q buffs that Jinx found on this patch. An extra 20 range, level 1, when you are using Fish Bones. That's
we'll
pretty
talk
significant.
about that.
Yeah,
All right.
as
this feels
Tomio,
bad.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel bad, but a very good play from Tomio, as that's a solid dive off of the crashed wave. So good job by Fake God and Tomio to sync up and find that kill. Get Fake God ahead, as that is a Thunder to open. Oh boy. I mean, he's not going Black Cleaver, so I'm expecting to see the Stride Breaker Renekton.
You know, Drago did use some very non-sportsman-like means against Rocky, so I don't know where I'm going with that boxing reference, but hey, It is still LG with a small advantage earlier on, and they do have that advantage in top side, so trying to strike where potentially Estral is weakest. We looked back onto the map. There is a dragon early, potentially started by either team. There's a lot of bodies down here on this bot side of the map, including both junglers.
I'd be surprised if we see Lilia start up the dragon. I think it's a little bit too dangerous. Milio Jinx doesn't exactly have priority against the Raw Corki, but we do see... I mean, I guess they do see Tomio cross. Want to walk in as the Jinx Milio, so I guess Ghost base first steal off the crashed wave. They're going to take the dragon, and that's a pre 8-minute dragon. They can maybe contest the grubs now, too. That's a good take for a Stroll. Well played. I wasn't exactly sure if they were going to go for this one, but they saw Tomio cross, and I think there was plenty of info with the help of the bot lane with the push to make sure they could take this one safely. Well played.
It's going to be a little bit of an advantage for them. They did end up finding a lot of promise around objectives and around dragons specifically so far this series, even though it hasn't led out to a win for them. It's going to be an early Infernal Dragon, so give them a little bit more damage as well. The next conversation is going to be the Grubs in about a minute and a half. I do wonder if we get any lane swaps or at least movement from the bot lane to the top lane to set that one up.
Fake God has no TP, and I think if you want to play the Grubs as Luminosity Gaming, probably going to want to have that Renekton there with hopefully a fresh base.
Probably want to have
Fake
Zazel
God.
there too, though, right? Oh.
Fake God is the one ahead. Zazel has...
Oh, Cody barely slinks out by the edge of his wings, and he is fine. Did have to burn the flash.
I mean, I think they'd love to get Zazel 6 and then get him there, because if Zazel has 6, they can counter the Lilting Lullaby. Could be very significant for that fight, so... I think making sure that Zazel has the XP and keeping him down here until that, if they can stall out that grub take to give Zazel more time to get to level 6, I think that could be really nice for LG.
They're keeping pressure heavy on Estral's bot side now, though. They're going to have to get the reset out from Ghost and Winsome. This is the part where we do have to watch where they end up redeploying. You do have the TP from Winsome with the spell book. Looks like they are just going to send Cody down towards bot side and bring Ghost to this mid lane and to the grub fight.
Zazel did net 6. So any Lilting Lullaby that comes out from Solid Snake will be nullified. As on spawn, I mean, Maokai can do these very quickly. Those Bramble
Winsome's
Smashes
still not 6.
do a lot of bonus damage to the creeps. As, okay. Tomio picks up
Oh, the
first one.
Lilting Lullaby's
That's
popped.
early. They saw Emilio
We're gonna
mid.
take this fight here. Tomio gets half his health chunk. The lockdown comes through as Winsome finally hit that level 6, but do they have enough damage here? That's 4 members of Estral in this fight, and in the pit is LG. Fake God having to flash away. Tomio gonna flash as well, and Zazel probably gonna follow him as well. That's gonna be 3 flashes out from LG, and that's gonna be 2 grubs secured by them as well. As Insanity go for the poke, go for the damage on the Shintal. As they don't end up finding it, that is still an advantage for LG.
Well played. I really like how Tomio and Fake God were on the objective on spawn. As Tactical barely goes wide with that rocket. Good idea on the fish, but yeah, I think the fact that they were there at the start, that was the difference maker in finding the 2 grubs. And to be fair, I liked the idea from Solid Snake to cast the ultimate when he did. Set up for a really nice combo to start that fight off with Winsome. To at least get something going in their direction. Just not enough gas in the tank to actually find a kill. They did take a lot of flashes away from Luminosity Gaming. So let's see if Solid Snake can capitalize off of that, as he should have a lot more lanes that he could go to and, you know, have an impactful gank.
He should indeed. As I want to take stock of the game itself, there still is pretty hefty advantage there for Fake God on the top side, about 1.2 thousand gold with that kill, but also the CS differential there. But everywhere else, pretty darn even. And Solid Snake is getting to a point where this Lilia clear is just lightning fast. I'm going to try to keep ahead of Tomio. And as we come to this next dragon, it would be a second in a row for Estral. Do we feel like they're in a position where they could just give this one up and try to get this scaling going? They already bought themselves, you know, that extra 5 minutes at least.
I don't think so. I still very much favor Luminosity Gaming. I think it's very tough to outscale Emilio. And the top lane matchup being what it is now is also bad. As Emilio is kind of a neat little answer here, I think, to the Smolder and the Lilia. Just like the hard thematic counter of the Lilia. Popping that ult and nullifying the Lilting Lullaby. But also against the Smolder, you give your marksman a little bit of extra range, extra shielding, extra healing. Hopefully to increase your effective health against the Smolder, because once he gets going and once those stacks start melting, yeah, he does pretty good AoE damage, right? I think Milio and an Enchantress can really try and help nullify that. So I think Zazel's pick, creative for a few reasons here, as Milio brings quite a few positives to the table for LG.
Yeah, about 2,000 gold up now. Shintal going to try to scoop back as much of the CS deficit that he's in back while he has a little bit of time. We will get the Shojins completed for Fake God. And speaking of those first items, a couple are being completed now. We also have the Leandries for Solid Snake.
Okay. So, Shojin first Renekton, first off, this is very base from Fake God.
Statement.
He's going to destroy this matchup now. Because what Shojin does on Renekton is you just get to use your basic abilities more. I think what a lot of people forget about when it comes to Renekton is that, yes, he is mostly an early game champion, but a lot of his scaling is based on how many melees you can interact with, because it's how much Fury you can get access to. Because his Fury abilities are very powerful, and Shojin helps you create a lot more Fury. You can have a lot more abilities, and we'll see if we can use it here, because TP's coming in. Dragon,
that's going to be used.
secured.
Dragon taken. That's going to be big from Estral. They go for the Lilting Lullaby, but I think he only hit onto one. Now Tomio goes down to the late Nachu.
Watch Fake God.
Tactical is just running rampant. It's looking like a new season of Arcane at this point. A double kill goes to Fake God, giving him 3 total on the back of it. Solid Snake going to dodge out of the zap, but I don't know if they can make it out alive. They're going to try to get a little bit of speed up from the fleet footwork. Insanity and Tactical running them down. 2 ADCs that the Trap Jaws hit, and they're going to get even more excited. LT are ringing in this series with dominant performance after dominant performance.
Dragon sacked, fight 1, tempo in LG's favor. As Tactical going to take that quick reset, and Luminosity Gaming, this time around, we're going to have to see what Tactical can do.
Ooh, the flash count, Shattering Strikes play.
Insanity, though. Yeah,
That is
I
gonna
mean,
be the
again, for
flash.
win some, it's something, right? Flash for flash, I guess you're kind of trading up. You'd love to get that trade on the Jinx instead of the Ezreal, but not the case, as Insanity was the one who stuck around. So he still has the Arcane Shift to play defense, but at least Winston trying to create something here. But yeah, I think LG very happy to drop that objective and have this 2.5k gold lead. I don't think they're on a timer at all this game, which is usually not what you think about when you're going up against a Lilia and a Smolder, but I really think that's how picks like the Maokai and the Milio really augment this draft in favor of Luminosity Gaming.
And again, this is a team that had the highest of expectations coming onto them into this tournament, right? A dominant sweep of the NACL all year long. From the beginning, they said in one of their first interviews that their goal is promotion. They want to take DSG's spot. And after coming off a heartbreaking loss for them against DSG in the upper bracket, they seemingly have found themselves again.
Trying to find this bot outer turret. Here is LG as Nature's Grass going to be cast. Win some. Does
Doesn't
tank
catching
up
win
the
some.
roof.
They're going to chase him down now. He's pretty tanky, though. Fake God just eviscerates
Cody.
him, though. Doesn't even matter if he's tanky. And the twisted advance also coming out from Tomio. He does end up trading his life, but Tactical gets himself
That's game.
more kills, more gold, and more blood for LG. As they take the dive, they're losing the topside turret, but Tactical is online.
They're going to get first brick. They were first the first 3 kills. That's going to be Feats. And you're right. Tactical is online. And personally, I think that is game right there. As Insanity, he knocks down the turret. Feats going to be secured for LG. But that's so much gold that they're going to have in advantage over Estral and Shintal, who... I mean, Akawa is a pick that he's played a lot in solo queue. It's a pick that he started spamming when he knew Summit was going to be out and he was going to be top lane. But I just don't think that it's even close to being enough to overcome this Renekton, who is going to be so filthy far ahead. With a Spear of Shojin and kind of close to getting to a Styrax here even for Fake God. As he's made his way to this Rift fight, and LG, no sign of slowing down here as they want to take this objective on spawn.
For the first time, he's not down like a insane amount of CS, and that's got to feel good for Shintal, but unfortunately,
he was
Fake
until
God
that
still
play.
has found, has found a little bit more gold with the kills as well. 5-0 for him. And just a show out day from LG so far. They still have to put the finishing touches on this one, though. But you got to think that they're riding with a lot of confidence after this series.
I mean, look, I think that today went exactly how I expected. I didn't see very many worlds where you would have a 3-0 or any games, honestly, 1 for Estral. I just think that Fake God and Luminosity Gaming, much stronger team than the Tigres and what they showed in this event. As it was a very impressive win for Estral yesterday.
It was.
You know, that Tigres team was pretty young, and it was a surprise that they won out on the region. It took that first seed. They really stepped up throughout playoffs to win, but I don't think we got that same form from them in this event, as LG took care of them pretty handily too. I mean, they won 0-6 from what we saw on the Rift, and that's a young team, you know, winning in Tier 2. This is a veteran team that we are lovingly calling the LTA Rejects, that at the core of it has won 4 times in a row in Tier 2, and dare I say, a more competitive Tier 2 Region 2 in NACL. So LG showing out in this one, as that Rift's going to take mid-outer, and going to keep on pushing forward here. which is a lot sooner in the game than what I would usually expect given the draft, but that kind of speaks to the game state that LG has for themselves.
Yeah, Cody's at about 130 stacks, still very far away from that execute range, and we're already getting second item completions for LG. Like you were saying, I'm sure Fate got very, very close to his. We will have that next dragon coming up. This would be the first dragon for LG and Estral. They did some due diligence by taking a couple dragons early and not forcing this to be a bigger decision than it is, and they'll just have to sit in patience with that time bot at least. Tactical so fast.
And not much
Speedy
traded
guy.
out there by Straw as Cody gonna do what he can to get some stacks. You can see in the top left corner of Smolder's portrait, you see a 145 there, which is gonna be where his Q stacks are at. Little bit behind the pace, dare I say, for Cody, as I know that Evolve, your target for me is always like around that 22, 30, 23 minute mark, right? Again, like this is a game where you're thinking, oh my god, there's a Smolder Lilia. They got the first two dragons. Like, that sounds good. I mean, you have that blanket statement for most comps, and I'm like, wow, I'm pretty happy with that. But I think the lack of a tank top this game, to hold the line, Winsome being the only person that can catch Nature's Grasp, and then Zazel on this Milio just being able to completely nullify the power of Lilia and that Lilting Lullaby, which takes a lot of power out of Lilia's game as a whole. It really changes how this game is, and for me, I just think LG has a much more cohesive draft, which should be the difference moving on. So, yeah, again, I appreciate some of the creativity from Astral and the options. I just don't think it's going to be enough in this game.
And now you'll see LG picking where they want to take fights, where they want to move around the map. Still not as big of a lead as they did once have, and especially in the past two games here. We'll still have some big momentum shifts to come. We are getting to that second item now for Estral as well. We do have that rapid fire cannon completed for Cody, so he'll be able to get stacks a little bit more consistently. But now for LG on the map, like, it feels weird because I think across the last two games, we've seen an LG that are kind of just doing the finger wag towards Estral saying, come at me. But it's to their comp's win condition, right? Like, buying time, getting to these three items is where they succeed and find a lot of, you know, potency in. And I think they're okay with letting this map kind of peter out a little bit until these next objectives.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think for the Otacon, I'm really worried that Astral doesn't have any members over on LG where Flash is down, or where they have any, like, clear direction to play. I mean, I think if someone's missing summoner spells, it's like, okay, Winsome, that guy, right? Like, we're going on them.
Yeah.
That's not an option at the moment with LG having all their tools available and having this control over the bot side, the side that Otacon is going to spawn. So you can see Winsome trying to make up some ground here, but this is as far up as he's going to be able to go, and retaking space against an Ezreal, against a Maokai is so difficult in this game. As you can see, Tomio already setting up those saplings to make life difficult for Astral walking in.
Oh, he's got a flank angle here with the Nature's Grasp. He can just start things off. Knocks it with the Bramble Smash back into the Nature's Grasp, and Zazel gets the kill in the end. Everybody's getting to be a part of this one for LG. It's just like a family photo right on the gravestone of Estral, as they're going to move all 5 members down to Atacon.
Ooh, that was kind of close. I mean, this is just too easy for LG. Great engage from Tomio, as Cody, no chance to react to the flash twisted advance. That shut him down with the Nature's Grasp to follow him. An easy Otacon secured, and the LTA rejects the team that had to go back to Tier 2 that won both splits of NACL to make their way into this tournament and make their way to play for an LTA North / LCS spot for next year. Continue to be closer to finding that date again with Disguise, with the only difference being Disguise. They got side select for game 1. But it's a new best of 5, but one that LG is hoping to get the best of this time around.
And I love it because I know coming into this series, I talked so much about the lethal company of Tomio, Insanity, and Zazel moving around. But this game, number 3, has really been a standout from Fake God and Tactical. I think all series long, they've been doing well. Obviously, Fake God with a little bit of an easier matchup in the Shintal with that sub situation coming through. But Tactical's been feeling himself. It felt like from level 3 on the Jinx and has not looked back since then. I think these step-ups are exactly why I love Tactical, why I was so high on him in that split number 1 when he was just heads and above the best ADC in the league. When he is feeling himself, when he is confident, he takes angles that you don't see a lot of ADCs take. And a lot of the time it comes out the better for him.
PP coming in from Insanity as this dragon that's about to spawn again. Full control for Luminosity Gaming, and it's kind of difficult to envision like when and where Astral can actually break this formation or break in. As Winsome's going to try and do it through the bot lane wave. But even then, I look at that space being held by Tactical and Tomio. That's so sound. They've scouted out Shintal, and Fake God's there to mark him. Now Shintal, I mean, he's got to get out of there, and that's already some tools used, and health bar is lost to the Maokai, where LG have an even more advantageous position than where they started, as they're playing out their comp well.
Yeah, they're just forcing the hand right now of Estral. They're going to force ultis, and unfortunately, Insanity just forces the death of Winsome. Yep. Now you're down bodies, you're down members, and you're down everything from Estral. Trying to get Tactical excited. Cody overstays his bounds. Shintal tries to find an angle. Perfect execution into the passive heal, but Shintal still gets the kill on Atomio with the help of the dragon. He will unfortunately fall to Tactical. He goes on a rampage and now is looking for more oversteps, though. Trying to get some healing back from the dragon. Will be okay for the moment. Now Fake God stepping up in the Mega Death Rocket across. The flash with the Ruthless Predator there from Fake God ends up signaling the end of this one. As Solid Snake's going to get ran down as well. That's a deep TP from Winsome. He did end up trying to find Tactical, but Tactical had made his way away. The dragon is going to go down to LG as well.
Yeah, he got excited. He got on out of there as Ocean Dragon secured, Fight Win secured for LG, and again, just more and more boxes being checked for LG to topple Astral and move into that grand final.
The Guma Yushi skin himself, Tactical, putting on a Wonder Star performance as we take a look back at this one. Really, Insanity just 100-0 Winsome before this fight even kicks off.
Hey man, Shintal did his best here. Actually found an execution as Solid Snake was able to hold that Lilting Lullaby until after Milio's ult was used. So that was at least a small positive or a silver lining. You can still see how difficult it is for Astral to really play these out as Fake God able to clean up that final kill on the jungler. And Winsome, again, he is the only tank, the only front line, and playing into Maokai Ezreal is not an easy task.
The front lines are looking harder and harder to navigate here as Winsome going to be forced to flash out of the Nature's Grasp. You see how much poke Tactical Insanity can layer down here. It's really beautiful stuff from LG as they dictate the pace of the game yet again. 5,000 gold up. Not nearly the biggest lead they've had this series, but a stable one nonetheless.
I mean, it feels like a big lead. Again, this is, I think, where the comp for LG really kicks in. The scaling they're playing with, like outside of Renekton, this comp scales incredibly well. And again, some of the thematic answers, I really like the Milio being used in this occasion by Zeyzal. Zeyzal always someone that I feel like, of all the players on this team that can expand their champion pool and play stuff, I feel like Zeyzal oftentimes underappreciated in that role with his willingness to find champs like Emilio, where, I mean, this game, having Emilio on your team gives you so many pros. Being able to use this with the Jinx and actually play into the Lily, I think this was a really creative answer and flex that LG were able to pull out.
Not showing too much, actually just showing a little bit of what they've been known for. The double marksman comp coming through here, but really setting themselves up for success going into that next series against DSG. As Redemption's going to be used to kind of keep Estral on this front line. You do have Cody getting so damn close to his stacks, but not there just yet.
Tactical was able to, I mean, only 2-3 autos on the Cody, and he's already relegated the TPing back into this one. As they saw Tomio clear out that control ward, so Astral's pretty confident they're not on the Baron right now. It's going to be the next wave they're on the Baron, as that ball is going to scout it. Sanity's hitting the Baron trying to get
Oh no, Winsome knew. He's like, I know they're all in there.
You don't have to do anything else besides hold this.
Shintal tries to find an angle, gets locked down in the end. He's going to get the Redemption out from LG. Going to get some nice healing back. Solid Snake's just getting ran down. Solid Snake is down. Bambi is gone to the Hunter of Tactical as his sights are set on Astral's heart.
It's too easy for Luminosity Gaming. These setups have been very sound from them. I think that's a positive going into this, guys. I do think that LG were beat past 25 minutes with a lot of the sequences against Disguise in that series. But this has been very well executed by them. Using the Maokai and the Milio. I mean, again, all they had to do there was hold their space. Don't overcomplicate things. Just do your comp's job. Wonderfully done by Luminosity Gaming there. As they're going to secure the first Baron of the game. Probably going to take an Ocean's Soul point for themselves after a reset here as they fix the map. And then, again, LG, I mean, Astral, I don't see their way into this one. I feel like this one's been over for a while.
That's where we can spend some time talking about LG a little bit more. Obviously, we came into the day with a lot of expectations for LG to kind of bounce back after that series against DSG. Again, I feel like the word fits itself, heartbreaking, because I do feel like they could have shown a little bit more in that series. I think at least win one of those games, because it was a little bit in their favor there. But I know that's going to give them a bit of a chip on their shoulder going into DSG. And I think this is a really good momentum builder for them, but they need to realize that that next stage is going to be a completely different level of opponent.
I mean, Disguise has really proven that at least they were the team that the Scrim rumors had. You know, there were rumors flying around that Disguise was a lot of the other teams that were competing in scrimming thought that Disguise would be the team to beat for this tournament. They proved it with that 3-0, but LG, these guys have the experience. They're not going to let that get them down.
Let's just win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. The angles are going to be trying to be found here by Solid Snake. His tactical goes a little bit too far up.
Tactical, my goat, stands and delivers a double kill for LG. As now the back line's getting caught out, but Tomio's buying so much damn time, and the end is near. The end is nigh. LG, they have one opponent in their mind, and it starts with Disguised and ends with LG decimating Astral every step of the way. LG will live up to their conditions. They will live up to their goals. And now it's DSG versus LG for a spot in the LCS next year.
We expected this to be the upper bracket final and the grand final, and both teams delivered as Disguise took care of business early. Luminosity Gaming took care of business in the lower bracket. And really the dream run for Astral falls short here as Shintal did his best to sub in yesterday. The fact that he subbed in and found a 3-0 yesterday, I still find to be bonkers. But LG, they weren't going to let Shintal and Astral get to work today, as they give us another quick day here on the broadcast and book a rather exciting best of 5 for tomorrow, Mazel. Or for the 12th, Mazel.
Yeah.
As Sunday, Disguise versus LG, we really felt like this was going to be the matchup since the creation, the iteration of Luminosity Gaming's roster. It was all going to come down to this. I mean, this was the team that was expected to be the favorites in the promotion tournament. The fact that Disguised, I think, were the team that is perceived to be stronger now is a bit of a surprise based on where we left off in NACL with Luminosity Gaming taking care of business against Conviction there in very dominating fashion in the finals. It has been Disguised. It's been scaling up behind the scenes. We'll have to see if Luminosity Gaming, who were toppled by them earlier in this tournament, have scaled up enough behind the scenes to give us a better best of 5 for our grand final and then LTA North / LCS spot for 2026 available.
And I think it is with a lot of pride that LG can stand, you know, in this moment, obviously still needing to finish the job. But I still remember, and I know I mentioned it, but like that first post-game interview in the first split saying, we are going for the promotion slot. And knowing that that was their goal the entire time, knowing that they didn't hold back at any one moment throughout the year, and to see them finally reach that precipice and having a very tough opponent in their eyes, but still a team that has lived up to some of those expectations.
Yeah, I mean, look, going back through this game, it's, I mean, there weren't a lot of windows where we expected Astral to get back in or be close, but at least for LG, I mean, I think there was a lot of pressure on this team, as, you know, you're kind of hinting at, Mazel, to actually make it, to try and fight for this spot, to try and earn that spot for themselves, a spot that many of them felt like they were already kind of due / earned from their play in Tier 1 in the past. The fact they had to come together and do this as a team, I mean, this is a team where I can assure you that these players, while I don't know the details, if there were any LTA North teams looking to make changes, it's your job to reach out to LG and this squad. And these guys wanted to stick together, wanted to play this one out and qualify into the LTA North together.
Yeah.
Now get to do so into the LCS as they're going to try and really change the league here on Sunday. They try and topple Disguised, and Disguised, of course, love the quote I got from Ido at the start of this tournament. Said, "It is our job to show that competing in the LTA North was an advantage throughout the year. And we're going to set the tone to see if that promotion relegation slot's going to be a rotating door, or if we can use that advantage and earn it with the play that we're able to put on the Rift for this tournament." So far, we saw Disguised take the quick way into that grand final, and we'll see if they can do what they did in the upper bracket final and find another win against LG on the 12th.
Yeah. And while the hopes of claiming another Tier 1 spot for the LRN are dead with Estral, it is still something to say that Estral were able to put up a much better performance through the latter half of the tournament itself. Being able to take that 3-0, I mean, I know maybe in the grand scheme of things it doesn't mean that much, but to take down the Tigres after losing the title to them and falling so short in that domestic play, I know that's got to feel good. So huge shout out to all of Estral, but especially Shintal, who ended up finding a very tough position to be in and tried to navigate it as best as he could.
I think he made a lot of fans in the process, so hopefully you guys keep up with the Stroll and Shintal and what they were able to do. And of course, looking at that post-game graph, man, Tactical was really able to step up and do some work. I felt like he was going to have the most damage in this game, but having that much damage is pretty impressive.
It's nasty. Yeah, he was feeling himself. And I think they need that going into tomorrow. I know you talked so much about the Rahel matchup, but Tactical maybe not having the brightest of performances last time against DSG, definitely using this one as a preamble into that. And it was all off the back of, major hyper carries, right? We had the Kaisa play where he was making plays himself with the killer instinct. You had the Jinx play where he was stepping up completely in those front lines because he was so far ahead, trying to get that excited proc. And I think that's the kind of Tactical we need on the day when they do face up against DSG.
And for DSG, I mean, again, I'm curious to see how that series goes the second time. Because for me, I think the big takeaway was Disguise drafting very defensive identities, very much committing to playing more so 2-threat comps than 3-threat comps, looking at Castle playing a lot of tanks in the top side, and sticking to champions like Victor, like Jinx, like Orianna, like Azir throughout the series that they have played so far in the mid lane. I'm curious if LG decide to match that and play their style, or continue to find ways to try and break it. Because we did see them, I think the closest game was at game 1, where, I mean, Zeri was literally 5 HP away from dying, and I think really making sure game 1 went LG's way. But Rahel was able to live, and from there, Disguise just played a better series from then on out. And
so
what was
did
pretty
you
surprising,
see...
the fact it was a 3-0. Because we all had it like as a 5-game series, right, when we were projecting
100%.
Yeah.
Did you feel like we saw any of those learning moments today from LG, or any adaptation from that last series?
No,
like,
man,
I don't know if
they
we
were
could
not
see
challenged.
that.
They
Yeah.
were not challenged today.
Yeah.
It was going to be an LG win from start to finish, and it was an LG win from start to finish. So, no, I don't think the competition was good enough to at least be able to say, oh yeah, like LG did patch up these parts of the games, because by 25 plus minutes, the leads were so big that LG, I mean, they played it out fine. They didn't do anything wrong, but they weren't really challenged in that, right?
Yeah.
Disguise was the team that was challenging them with those setups and how they were playing around those objectives in legitimately a very good manner. I mean, I think that was the difference in why DSG were able to find the 3-0. So kind of have to get back into that series and see if LG kind of patched up a couple decisions, or maybe when and where they base or when and where they deploy, to see if they can match Disguise in that aspect, because I thought it was a pretty close series, even if it was a 3-0 on the scoreboard. And yeah, I think that is something where LG are going to need to clean up the later stages of the game if they want to contest and take a couple of those games off of Disguise, because they got the later parts right.
And, I don't know who we're actually going to get to talk to for the interview itself, but just a point, and maybe we get to talk to Tacto and I can ask him himself, but how do you think he feels about taking down World Championship Ghost? We didn't get to see the chin, man. I'm so sad.
I think he feels that top lane mattered a lot for his team. As
Zazel
MVP.
gets the MVP. Let's go. Fear the beard, baby.
You know what? We didn't really highlight or talk about Zazel a ton, but I thought the Milio pick was good. The Nautilus had some really solid engages overall. And Zazel, again, the captain, the big speaker of this team. I guarantee you, I don't know what percentage of the comms he makes up, but I'm going to guarantee you guys it's the majority. Zazel always trying to get his teams on the right page, and does so very successfully. I think he's a great voice to have in a team. I really respect how he handles comms. I think that it's done you know, professionally as a competitor, but also personally in a manner that gets more out of everyone around him.
Agreed.
And I bet you that the LG members would say the same. As it's a lot of feeding info to Zazel, and Zazel asking questions and seeing what they want to do from there. With, I think it's Sanity being one of the bigger voices behind him too.
Yeah, he
Those
is
guys
too.
are the two chefs, yeah.
But I still think like that combo, and I labeled them maybe one of the most lethal jungle support combos that we've seen in ACL history. I mean, Zazel and Tomio linking up, like when that doesn't happen, it looks like a very different LG. But we got to see kind of the prime position of how these two work so well in tandem.
Yeah, I honestly, I need to see more of that against Disguised, right? Because I thought that at least how Disguised was able to play the map, I thought Castle was a big difference maker, and then Rahel was a big difference maker in that series, as Rahel was really just the... I pitched him as the best player in the tournament, and he's played like it so far. So we'll see if Zazel and Tactical are up to the challenge in taking down Rahel and DSG on Sunday.
Yeah, I just want to say, everybody at home, you've been saved because we had to cut a little part of the beard off. If you got the full beard, you wouldn't be able to see your screen right now. You would be blinded by greatness. But it really was a great holistic performance from all of LG. And I really want to hear what the mindset is going to be like going into that series against DSG. Obviously, a lot of travel till then. I think travel is one of the most undersung parts of tournaments in terms of preparation and things. You have to spend a lot of time. You have to go to a place different than maybe where you're used to. And I think that's going to be heavy on the minds of LG and DSG.
Yeah, that could be something that is a factor. LG, more experienced team than Disguised. Pound for pound. As top point, of course, shout out to Shintal, who did his best given the scenario. I know that the stats, the numbers from this aren't going to look too good, but you played competitive matches at a very high level auto-filled, and you went 3-3. I think if you boil it down to that, that's not too bad. And so hopefully he learned a couple things that he can take with himself past this, but...
the clip of him getting mad at himself for the cask is so good. Like, those moments. I feel
he
bad.
probably doesn't want to take that one with him. Yeah, probably doesn't want to take that one. But no,
maybe that won't be the memory.
I do think, I thought the big difference of the series coming into the day was just that Fake God versus Johnny, or I'm taking Fake God as a player every time, and Fake God was definitely able to make his leads that he was able to get from going up against an auto-filled top laner. Those leads were felt across all of his straw, whereas against the Tigres, it wasn't really felt. Yanni was not able to do enough work to help his team win. Zestrel picked up an impressive 3-0 there. Unfortunately, could not find the same fate today as Fake God and LG a bit too mighty as they take the 3-0.
And that matchup for Fake God going to be even more interesting in that finals. I wonder if we do end up getting some of the spice that we haven't necessarily seen from him all this year, like you were shouting out, but still something that we could end up seeing in the finals. Again, we said it before, it doesn't feel like LG had to show anything in their bag too much besides maybe the Ezreal mid, but that's something we've known from them before. So maybe trying to save all the options for that next series. As I do believe we are ready for our interview. It's going to be none other than David. We got Insanity from the mid lane of LG. My friend, you have made it to the precipice, the one that you guys called your shot on from the beginning of the year. Said it is do or die. It is make it big or bust, making it to the promotion tournament. You have one more series in front of you. It's a rematch. It's something that didn't go your guys' way last time. What are your first thoughts going into DSG in the finals?
Honestly, I think it'll be a pretty good match this time. I think the last time, I'm kind of pissed at myself for not carrying the first game, and after that, I think we kind of just lost it. Like, they played better and we played worse as the series went on, but I think based on our progress and what we've done throughout the split, I think that series will be a lot more even, maybe even a lot more in our favor, but I think it's just going to be nice to see everybody in person again.
Yeah, I gotta say, you gotta get ready for travel. I saw Tactical and Fake God already had their bags packed, ready to go before the series. Are you guys getting ready for traveling? And are you guys at all worried about the travel right ahead of the series?
Not really worried, personally. I don't have to do much packing. I'm probably only gonna bring like 2 pairs of clothes and a backpack, man. And my mouse and keyboard. I don't need that much.
That's all you need, baby. That's all you need. I love to hear it. Did you guys use anything that you feel like you didn't need to use today? Did you learn anything from this series? Does it make you feel more confident going into DSG with the way that you controlled the map today?
I think a little too early to tell if we learned anything from today, but I also don't think we really used like anything special today either. They kind of just fell over. I think I don't know. It was a pretty quick day,
Okay.
but I'm excited for the next.
Hey, the big show is on the board here. The next step here against DSG. I got to ask you though, it's been a long year. You guys again set out from the very beginning of the year with this goal in mind. How has this year been for you, Insanity? What do you feel like you've grown the most in, and what are you taking into that finals as kind of that final hurrah for your do or die series?
I think for me, I've kind of had like a roller coaster of a year. I played pretty poorly throughout the beginning of the split, but I think the biggest growth point for myself is becoming a lot more consistent in my play and just like playing more of the team game and not really bleeding too much or like ruining my lane for fun, whatever it may be. I think I'm just a lot more goal oriented in general in the way that we play the game, and I think everybody is as well. And I think that's going to show next week.
All right. Well, I do want to ask you,
Or
do
not
you
next
have
week,
any
next 2 days.
words? Yeah. I get you. Do you have any words, any thoughts, any feelings going into Dark Wings?
Not really. I mean,
No.
kind of a boring
Easy?
matchup last time. We didn't really fight too much. We didn't really do too much after the first game, but I think next time let's scrap, make it a brawl.
All right. I love to hear that. Insanity, give you a chance to give some shout outs. Give anybody you want to talk about before we let you go.
Shout out to everybody on the team. We've been working our asses off, and I think that our finals will show everything that we put together, and I think we will come out on top. And I'm very grateful to have them as teammates.
Insanity, it's always a pleasure to get to talk to you. Good luck in Mexico and good luck in your travels, my friend. And we will see you at the finals against DSG.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to bring back Cubby, and nice to hear some, humble words, but also saying we need to scrap Isaac, aka Dark Wings. We need to go at it in the mid lane. It can't be boring for a finals, for a promotion into the LCS next year.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I appreciate a lot of what Insanity was talking about. I do think that at times there were other mid laners that I do think overshadowed Insanity throughout NACL. Like, I thought Evolved played really good this year. Bo5 is a good player that came back to the league for summer. Even Split 1, like Spyrax is still in the league and playing well. I appreciate that Insanity kind of reflects, and I think he knows where he's at and where he stands, but also where he could stand at the end of Sunday. And again, for me, I think that he's the player that people look at the most on Luminosity Gaming and go like, hey, why were you out of SR, right? Like, why was it the Palafox for Insanity swap? And look, I think fans are pretty reasonable and questioning that. So good chance for David Insanity to answer all those questions, take down the LTA North team themselves in disguise down the 12th, and get that spot back. That was the mission that these 5-6 with Deos and some more crew behind the scenes. That's the mission these guys set out to do at the start, and the mission they're looking to accomplish on the 12th.
And we see the bracket laid out in front of us. We only have one more day, and that day, the most important day for both Disguised and Luminosity Gaming of the entire year. One team will make it into LCS 2026, the other will not, and that is a stark contrast to where you can find yourself at the end of the year. What a series, Cubby, from LG, and I'm really happy to see them kind of return to form at least.
Yeah, I think it builds up some excitement for the match that we have on Sunday. As again, I think you asked anyone that covered or followed NACL, we kind of expected this to be the upper bracket final matchup and the grand final matchup. No surprise there. I mean, I was talking on stream the first time around how it was pretty big that DSG 3-0 because I think they hit stuff. And I think it was big that LG 3-0 today because they hit stuff. So really curious. I'm expecting a game 4 and 5 in that series. I don't think that it's going to be a 3-0 either way. I'm curious to see what each team has to pull out to the table. As it'll be do or die for an LTA spot, man. It's really tough to find a higher stakes match or a higher stakes series than that. Even talking with Fifth Laren, who was by my stream earlier, works with Disguised. When he was on NIP competing, he never played promotion relegation matches, but he saw that Bjergsen team in 2013 trying to qualify for EU LCS and just the stress that it puts on you playing for those spots and seeing that team that was close / failed a couple times to make it in, which was pretty surprising. So Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a stressful series. Should be one that fans at home are excited to watch between two teams that have definitely proven that they're the two teams that deserve to go toe-to-toe for that spot with the play they've put forward in this tournament.
And that means that's going to be it for our day. And honestly, for me, it's the final official cast of the year. So it's been a pleasure to be alongside you all. The love for NACL has been felt by the community. And got to give huge shout outs to everyone who continues to follow, continues to support this Tier 2 region that is so important to us, and here with the LTA North Promotion Tournament as well. It has been a pleasure to cover this run, and we get to see the culmination that we all wanted with DSG versus Luminosity Gaming in the finals. That'll be on the 12th, so make sure you keep your calendar clear, and we'll see you in Mexico, and we'll see you on Summoner's Rift.
So Ghost, yeah, Tomio's going to force. Ghost can't join. It's a 4v5 tactical.
Spectacle! You absolute beast! He just goes in, gets the combo straight onto Cody, and that's going to be a double kill for him. LG can do no wrong in game number 1 of this do-or-die best of 5, and they're going to dominate Estral all the way there. There was not a single moment where LG had faltered just in that mid-late early, but this composition has truly come online, and this is an 18,000 plus gold advantage for LG to start off the series.
All the damage.
It's now do or die in this game, as Shintal is going to find a catch on his Azel, but Zazel can just take the fight right back. Yeah, Shintal did not want that one. He has no tools to get out now, and he is down. Solid Snake tries to go for a play, tries to go for the fuzz, tries to go for the insect, but he will just be an insect, taken down by Tactical. Goes for a double kill, not even going to get the triple as Fake God takes that one from him, and LG are going to end the game here. No one is left to stand against the tide of Luminosity Gaming. Let the light shine through as they move themselves to match point.
Shintal, though it was looking at least a little bit better. I think this one was over either way for Astral, but they at least show some fight, show some grit around the Baron. But not enough fight early on, as the Luis and the Blanc had to get going, and it felt like they only got flashes, they only got tools used, and health bars lost to the Maokai, where LG have an even more advantageous position than where they started, as they're playing out their comp well.
Yeah, they're just forcing the hand right now of Estral. They're going to force ultis, and unfortunately, Insanity just forces the death of Winsome. Now you're down bodies, you're down members, and you're down everything from Estral. Trying to get Tactical excited. Cody overstays his bounds. Shintal tries to find an angle. Perfect execution into the passive heal, but Shintal still gets the kill on Tomio with the help of the Dragon. He will unfortunately fall to Tactical. He goes on a rampage, and now is looking for more oversteps, though. Trying to get some healing back from the Dragon. Will be okay for the moment. Now Fake God stepping up in the Mega Death Rocket across. The flash with the Ruthless Predator there from Fake God ends up signaling the end of this one. As Solid Snake going to get ran down as well. That's a deep TP from Winsome. He did end up trying to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. The angles are going to be trying to be found here by Solid Snake. Tactical is a little bit too far up.
Tactical, my goat, stands and delivers a double kill for LG. As now the back line's getting caught out, but Tomio's buying so much damn time, and the end is near. The end is nigh. LG, they have one opponent in their mind, and it starts with Disguise and ends with LG decimating Estral every step of the way. LG will live up to their conditions. They will live up to their goals. And now